Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
Yo, I know you guys are tuned in. Very excited for tonight's chat. You guys been requesting Dragoness Moto for a hot minute. Please hit that thumbs up.
And we're also gonna
Or
change
else I'm just gonna let this keep rocking. Right, the intro rock. Yes, I know the song is playing.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over
You
something.
know what? Let's just slow it down until you guys get this popping. There we go. Yeah, man. Get those thumbs up going, guys. Come on. It ain't costing much. We'll get this started, man. Very excited for tonight. Got a lot to cover. Got a lot to talk about. Just gonna do a little quick recap of last Sunday as well. A lot went into that, and a lot that I kind of sat on and kind of thought about, and I wanted to talk about, and really kind of just overall just talk about people coming on the stream and having conversation and everything else. So I guarantee you guys tonight's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be good as well with Dragoness Moto. So hit the thumbs up.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se llama el Putin entero. Funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes.
No more recommendations for me, all right? Okay.
Money work.
I'm just gonna let this rock one more time. You know
El mundo
what?
quiere dinero.
No need,
Yeah, I
no need to. What's good, everybody? Mike's in the building. Welcome to another Freestyle Sunday. Super excited for today for a lot of reasons, guys. One, we have Dragoness Moto in the building. A lot of people have been recommending me getting her on because they want to see her. They want to hear about her or get to know what's going on with her. You know, to be honest, this is my first kind of take about her. I've seen some of her videos here and there, but it really got interesting after a period of time with people requesting for her to come on. Then I started looking up into her content and seeing what she was doing. And to be honest, I'm finding it super, super interesting because When you check out her videos, it's very fresh, very refreshing, because it's very much in the beginning stages of becoming a full-fledged YouTuber or a motovlogger, content creator, whichever one you want to call it. But she's in the beginning of it, and I love seeing that stuff only because you get to see the timid parts, the part where it's not so unsure of, or she's not super unsure of, or direction she wants to go. So she does moto news, moto vlogging, meeting up with other big channels. So it's really nice to see that. For me, stuff like this is always super, super interesting. But before we dive into most of this stuff, guys, we're gonna give a big shout out to our sponsors, motivationusa.com, guys, where you see all of my bike parts come from. Again, you want to show love and support. By the way, we had a huge week this week. Lots of click coming through. Appreciate it. Even though we lost the last stream, and we're going to talk about that. But you definitely want to hit up motivationusa.com if you're looking for parts for your BMW, your Triumph, your Ducatis, your Yamahas, whatever it may be. They got exhaust sliders, parts. Oh, look at this. Adjustable rear set, guys. I haven't seen this one. That's pretty interesting. That's fairly new. Oh, Gillis tooling, guys. That's what I'm actually rocking on my own personal Street Fighter. Look at that carbon fiber, boys. Huh? Looks good, doesn't it? Definitely, if you guys want to show love and support to this channel, I don't sell anything. I don't pander anything to you guys, but I do appreciate you guys supporting the companies that support me and my wife. Keeps this going. Keep us bringing people on and continuously having the stream. I would totally appreciate it. Lastly, we're going to touch base with Hard Knocks Coffee. You guys know Hard Knocks Coffee. They're owned by an actual writer that provides coffee for MotoGP. Always appreciate it if you guys want to click the link. All those links are going to be in the description for you to shop and kind of support the channel. They sell coffee, stickers, candles, and stuff like that. Always appreciate it when you guys do those gestures. It just creates better partnership for me and for you guys, for me to bring people on, giveaways, stuff like that. That's going to come down the line. But enough about that, guys. Before we bring on Dragoness Moto, I just want to kind of really touch base about this. Now, the platform is a place where people come and have a conversation, whether it's motorcycle related, into the motorcycle industry, people that does products or does merch, whatever it may be. It's a platform we all have an opportunity to have a great conversation with one another. And there are no barriers. There are no filters when people come on here. What I predominantly do when we sit down with someone, probably the first maybe 20, 30 minutes, I have like a pre-call with them, which I don't talk too much because I want to kind of have a fresh conversation that's not like pre-recorded or thought about. That way it's candid, it's very exciting, and it's exciting for me as well, just figuring things out. Now, as you guys know, last Sunday was super interesting to the point, you know what, I'll point out the positive. We had a ton of super chats, that was super dope, but all that's lost because I scrapped the episode because of some of the drama that arrived. And some people loved that aspect. Some people thought that it probably shouldn't have been spoken about, which I get. The problem that I have now regarding that episode, after speaking to the gentleman, right? He said, "Oh, if you take it down out of respect for me, my fiance." Long story short, I said yes. I'll splice it and cut out certain portions. As I started working through the stream, I realized once you start censoring certain aspect, it loses context. Is basically a dead episode in my opinion. So I scrapped it out completely. The problem that I have with the whole situation, I feel like we're silencing a voice. Nobody is censored on here. Everyone has a right to talk about whatever they want to talk about, whoever they want to talk about. Me, myself as a host, we're just guiding the conversation. This is not meant to hate on anyone. As long as you're respectful or mindful the way you're projecting your thoughts, or at least expressing your thoughts, that's fine. Nobody's being threatened. If you have any issues down the line, this is something that you're going to have to take on with the person. You don't see Joe Rogan interviewing Donald Trump and then someone else freaks out. You don't see Elon Musk gets interviewed, someone else freaks out. This is not what we do here. This is a one-off. This will not happen again. I will not be taking down anything moving forward. I don't care what is said, how you feel about it, what's the issue. Something goes down, you're not happy about it, you have to talk with the person that spoke. And I am not here to censor people. I don't want people to censor me. So I don't want to stick on that too long, but I really had to express that because it was something that was really bothering me. I thought about it in the very beginning, and I said to myself, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do it that way and basically remove it because I didn't want to cause any issue. And I'm a man of my word. If I said I was going to remove something, I will, even though now that I feel like I shouldn't have, but I already did, and I said I would, so I took it off. But not sticking on that too long, guys. Just want to say what's up to everybody, and we're going to pull up the those super chats and anybody that's here early and say what's up to everybody. I know that was a little bit of a heavy energy in the beginning, but this has been like bottled on the inside all week, and I've just been like thinking about it. Should I just put it back up and create this whole thing? And my wife was like, you know, you already said that you're not gonna put it up, or at least not put it. Don't go back on your words. So if my wife thinks it's a great idea, and I've actually exchanged conversation with other people, they felt the same way, so I stuck to it. But moving forward, that's not going to happen at all. So whatever it is what it is, and that's something else that we have to deal with. All right, so here we go, boys. Let's say what's up to everybody that's tuned in early. Always love doing that. We have a wife is in the building, of course, here saying what's up, always showing love and support like that. We have Two Wheel Twansy is in the building. Talk 'em clutch. Yes, sir, man. You know, I'm trying to be very politically correct when it comes to stuff, but this is not a thing to bash on people, but I want us to be respectful, and you have to respect everyone's voice, whether you like it or not. That's how things go. We have Nizoni Motos in the building, of course, Power Moto, Futuristic Viper. We have a couple of people. Guys, if you tuned in, I'd appreciate it. Right now, we're showing several people on. That thumbs up should be way higher before we bring on. We have that guy Kells in the building, of course. Let me pull up that super chat. Solo Rider with the super chat. Let's see what I got here. I got a couple more people. Mr. Black Moses in the building. Family, of course, always great to see him. We have 5 up. Lots of people tuning in. I like that a lot. And I'm actually glad everyone's here. Sasong's here. And I'm glad a lot of people is here. And please, if you guys are watching this, you tuned in, let people know this is how this is going to happen moving forward. I will not take anything down. I will not compromise for anyone, whatever it is. As long as nobody's being threatened or if people's family are being mixed up in things, if you do something in public, you've done it yourself. If it goes out to the light, that is on you. That is not on this platform or me. All right. Let's see what else we got here. More people are coming through down here. We have Deborn at 6323's in the building. 650 Eves in the building. Always great to see him on there as well. What else we have here? We have, is that Kuyad? Kuyad 33? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. I'm scrolling backwards, jumping through a lot of people. Governor D Nice. I always like to say what's up to him because he always loves showing love, coming through, showing love. What's Hoodie Bike family? Yo, I can't believe I ducked out early last week. I had to hear the kids. I had to, I guess, to take the kids to bed, and I missed out on all the craziness. I heard, too bad I couldn't, oh, this is blocking it here, the rest of the chat here. Too bad I couldn't, I guess, watch through it. You know, there's a program button that's on here that's covering it. D-Nice, hit me up, man, if you want to see this. But I do have a backup of all this, by the way. So we also have another super chat here by Dborn6333. Super excited to have everybody on, by the way. Last week, man, was something else. I thought it was really dope. But I'm gonna roll a little clip here real quick of Dragoness Moto before we bring her on. That way you guys get to see what she's about. All right. Here we go, boys. Let's do it.
YouTube. It's great to finally be making this video. I've been wanting to make this YouTube channel for a while now. There are so many motovloggers out there who make this whole talking to yourself thing seem really effortless. And I have to say that it is quite strange, and that's coming from somebody who talks a lot. I talk to myself a lot too, so a little weird now, but it's definitely something that I will get used to. When I first started riding, I heavily relied on YouTube videos. I looked a lot at tips on how to ride, safety tips, general beginner tips. I've also looked into videos on mods for my motorcycle, and I also watch a lot of moto vlogs because I really love.
Big smile from Dragoness Moto, guys. I think you could see the vibe here with the big smile and her personality all kind of collide into one. So let's give Dragoness Moto a warm welcome, people. What's good? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. You've been highly requested.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine. Oh man, it is really good to have you on. So many people has asked for you to be on, and we've kind of went back and forth a little bit on getting you on and everything else. I know our schedule is not meeting up. Also, I dropped the ball at some point as well. So I appreciate you taking the time coming through, to be honest.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for having me again.
So fill us in. By the way, guys, you saw a Triumph that she's riding. One of my favorite bike, really smooth bike. I know you boys are thirsty for super bikes. She does own an S1000 RR, so that's her new baby.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually still have my Triumph, so I have both of my bikes now. I still have the Triumph Street Triple, and then I also have the S1000 RR, which is about a year old now. So
here's something that's super interesting about you. I know you're out of the UK, right? Mm-hmm. You traveled down to Florida, right? And then you bounced to Cali now, right? In some of your videos, I've noticed you mentioned about transferring your bikes. Did you transfer your Triumph to the US?
No, so I actually bought my Triumph in Florida in 2018.
Okay.
So I transferred my bike from Florida to California using a third party on UShip, which I made a whole video about that because my bike ended up getting damaged from that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like I think something happened in the trailer and it just like jolted and hit the side of the trailer because my side fairing was off, my bar end was broken. So there were some issues with it, but it was an easy process. It wasn't too expensive. I drove my car, but I had to ship the bike because I didn't have a car that could tow, unfortunately.
Okay. I had this whole idea. I'm like, oh my God, did she ship her bike out of UK all the way to the US? That's super interesting because I've never experienced anything like that. I'm sure nobody else has. And I'm like, I would love to hear this process. So let's find out, how did that go? But since this is an organic conversation, that is super interesting to know that your bike got damaged. Not that is a great thing. That's not a good thing at all. But the thing here is, how easy was it for you to get your bike taken care of? Or was it like a pain in the neck? Or were they able to get the work done on it? How did that go?
Yeah, so it was a real pain in the neck to the point where I just fixed it myself because the insurance was going to take too long because it was through UShip. But the way it worked, there was just a load of paperwork. I was starting a new job at the time, so there was just a lot going on. And I was back and forth a lot with the insurance. So not my personal insurance, but their insurance I had to go through. So it got to a point where I just ended up fixing it myself. It wasn't that expensive.
So you went out of pocket for it?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
I started through the insurance process, but it took too much of my energy, so I just stopped.
Wow, that is unexpected. I thought you were gonna say, "Oh yeah, I stuck with it until they kind of fixed it and thing like that." But at least it's fixed, right?
Yeah, it's fixed now. Yeah. But it's funny you mentioned actually. Sorry, to your point about moving bikes from the UK. Uh-huh. So my dad has a lot of motorcycles as well, and we were looking to moving his multistrada from the UK to the US because he was selling it. So he was like, "Oh, do you want to have it? If we can transport it, I'll just like pay the difference." So we looked into it, and apparently really new bikes, you can't, well, I personally can, I don't know if other people can, transfer them out of the UK into the US. I think the US to the UK is easier, but there's some issues with bringing it outside of the UK into the US.
It's possible it's a Euro 5 compliance and then US compliance thing that you have to be able to transfer them. I think that might be the thing that's an issue there. Unless you like super big bankroll, you kind of just get it done anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool.
I wish you knew more about it.
So you know what's super interesting in some of your videos that I've noticed that, well, you did mention your dad rode, so I'm assuming you've been riding probably since you were young, or maybe ever since you were in the UK.
Yeah, so I've been on the back of bikes since I was tall enough to touch the pegs, pretty much, because my dad has been riding since he was 17. So when I was young, I was on there with him. But I actually rode dirt bikes when I was 12. So I sat on dirt bikes, but then the dirt bikes got stolen like a year later, and we just never ended up buying any new ones. So I didn't ride for over a decade at that point. And then when I was in Florida for a few years, I just wanted to get back into it. So I really started getting back into street riding in 2018. So I've really been on the street for just over 4 years now.
And that's what I think it's kind of interesting with you, by the way, the fact that when I'm watching your videos, or at least check out some of the content, I'm seeing that there's a newness to it, even with the writing, even you mentioning about just learning growth, organic growth through other content creators, whether it's motovlogging, and it even seems that it transcends to the actual writing as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So before I even made my channel, it took me, I don't know how many months. It wasn't a year, but it was about, I would say about 6 months. So I'm a person who likes to be really prepared for things. So I like over research everything. So I was watching all of these YouTube channels. Like I was taking notes on, these people who had a big following and lots of subscribers, what they were doing, what people seem to be commenting on and liking. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll, try something unique. Like I want to bring something unique to YouTube. But at the same time, I want to, I don't want to just make something out completely and it be a fail. Like I want to learn from people who know what they're doing. So I kind of took a lot from other YouTubers and then try to put my unique spin on it, which, like you said earlier, I'm still kind of new to the game, so I'm still figuring out my exact avenue, but I like kind of, doing different things. So yeah, I definitely watched a lot of YouTube, like I still do now.
Sorry, I'm just replying to people at the same time.
Yeah, no worries.
So here's the other thing. Who are some of the popular people you are watching? I'm just curious. I'm always curious to see who's influencing the newcomers.
So at the time, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Mist and Flyer. He's based out of the UK.
Yes, I know who he is.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So he was one of the first ones I started watching in terms of like learning little tips and tricks. I liked him a lot. Moto Bob, just because I like his news outlets.
Okay.
Dude on a motorcycle, because I like to watch women who ride as well. Her Two Wheels, Itchy Boots was a big one. I really liked Itchy Boots just because of how much he travels, and the following was huge as well. 650 Eve, who I saw was in the chat too, so I was watching his stuff. Queen Sit, Blockhead, Madlet S1K, Lamb Chops Ride, Fast Lane D, Ride Along, I'm K. Yeah, loads of people. The list goes on.
You name some really good ones. You name some good people. I'm gonna tell you that are already pretty much lit. I'm gonna say, but I did notice that Madlet disappeared. I think his bike got stolen and then he dropped off.
Yeah, it did.
So I think that was a pretty sad one. So
I know that sucks.
I'm going to actually. There's two paths I'm going to take. So here's the other thing. I've noticed you're riding with a lot of people, a lot of guys also. Mm-hmm. How's that experience? No, guys. This is not derailing to yet last week. I'm just saying.
No, don't worry about that.
How is it riding with a lot of guys? Of course, you're a good-looking lady, right? So I'm sure people are already saying that. So how is it interacting in a pretty much male-dominated, I guess, motovlogging and riding overall?
I mean, I'm totally fine with it. I've had no real issues. I mean, you get the odd person, random people who are like, oh, is that your boyfriend's bike? Or assuming that I'm on the back of someone else because how could I own my own motorcycle? All of that stuff. But in terms of the people I ride with, I'll ride like with people I've never ridden before once or twice, and then I get pretty selective about who I actually do ride with. I'm just, you know, for safety reasons and just the people I'm around, I'm again pretty selective with those types of people. But I don't really have an issue with riding with guys. I've been around like male dominated like sports a lot. I've been around motorcycles for decades now. Like I said, my dad always had bikes when I was young, so I was always around him and his friends. And yeah, again, and now moving here, I haven't had as many issues either. It's been nice actually coming here because I've met a lot of women who ride, and not just women who ride like once or twice a month, but people who ride like frequently every week. And I've made a lot of friends that way as well. Because Florida, there wasn't really a lot of females who rode either. And then again, in the UK, I didn't really ride on the street, so I didn't meet as many. So yeah, it's been nice really experiencing that here, because Southern California, where I'm at now, is like huge for the motorcycle community, like, you know, but there are a lot more women who ride here than there are in any other place. Again, it's still a male dominated sport and hobby, but yeah, again, I don't have any issues. Everyone's really respectful to me. So yeah.
Do you find it easier though being a girl rider? Because I'm seeing, okay, so here's the thing. It took me a long time to kind of get to the point where I'm like riding bikes, or at least riding people. I go to events, people are like, oh yeah, check out my bike, ride it. And one of your most recent videos, I'm just gonna roll this clip real quick here of the latest BM M1000RS, I think special edition. That you got, yeah, you got an opportunity to ride that. That was pretty cool. The reason I was asking, do you find that it's easier for you to kind of get into the space where let's roll this real quick.
I'm gonna give you guys a little walk around on the bike just so you can see what it looks like. Ooh. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, Dragoness Moto, and today I have the privilege of riding the 2022 M1000RR 50th anniversary. This feels light. This bike feels so light. Thank you.
Was that the gentleman's bike, the one that's right across on the Brutale?
Brutale, yeah. So him and his brother have a company called PDM Brands, and we met them a couple months ago. Yeah, a couple months ago, like later in the year of last year. And they're starting up a new company now where they want to start doing like motorcycle giveaways and just do a lot of motorcycle related events and stuff like that. So they have a lot of bikes, and the M1000 is one that they recently just got. So they were kind enough to let me test ride it. So that was a great experience. That's the first M I've ever ridden, because I have an S1000RR, obviously, like you know. So they said they felt more comfortable with me riding it because I already know how to handle a bike like that. So yeah, they were nice enough to let me ride it, and it was a wonderful bike. If I had $40,000, I would buy one.
Let's take a look at this quick walk around of it real quick, and then I'll just kind of backtrack to exactly what I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Give you guys a little walk around on the bike just so you can see what it looks like. Wow, this is absolutely stunning. So this Sao Paulo color looks even better in person. Honestly, I didn't think this bike would be as fun as my bike, just because mine's already tuned. It's past the 600-mile service. I love this bike! So they just put the full carbon fiber belly pan on it and the Rizoma mirrors, which I also have on mine, which now I can actually see quite a lot out of, which is good. So this blue thing here, I believe it's called an underslung. What it does exactly, I don't remember. It comes stock with the rear sets, with the brake lever, the carbon fiber wings, and the double bevel screen, which I really like. So I don't have one on mine. I did order a double bevel screen, but it just came as a regular screen. and I feel like this one actually keeps the wind off me a lot more, so might be investing in one of those.
Yeah, so the point that I was getting to here, do you find that it's easier as a female rider that you get these opportunities where, you know, in most cases, I don't think dudes would be like, yeah, you could take out my brand new 40K and 1000 RR limited edition.
In some ways, yeah, this specific bike and the people that own it are very generous, and again, but they are selective with who they let ride it. I think because I know them, it helps. I would say generally as a woman, I don't think, I mean, it would be great if anyone let me ride any of their bikes. I would love that. If, you know, I went to a bike meet and everyone's like, hey, you take my V4R and my M1000 RR, but that's not really the case. I don't have that many people just offering to let me ride their bikes. It's usually who I know. I think having the S1000 RR does help though. I think people would, you know, same if I was going to let someone ride my bike, which I don't really, then I would allow someone who already has a similar bike to me ride it, you know? So I think I have that, but yeah, being a woman definitely helps because, you know, we are more trusting generally. So maybe it's that.
Sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes.
So yeah, I think it helps, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's the only factor in people letting me ride their bikes, but it helps.
So I'm gonna definitely ask you this question, and I'm gonna backtrack to this question I do have for you here. Solo Rider mentioned, how is it adjusting to riding from the UK to the United States? She didn't ride the street then, so let's see.
Yeah, so I've had a strange experience as a British person because I've done most of my riding in the US now. So driving, as you know, we drive on the right side of the road here. In the UK, we drive on the left. So the first time I went back to the UK, I rode my dad's multi-strat. He had a 1250 at the time, I think. And it was strange being on the other side of the road. Because again, now I'm used to being in Florida, in the US. So driving on the right side of the road was just more comfortable for me. Mm-hmm. And I had to get used to driving, you know, back on the other side. But on a motorcycle, I find it stranger than driving a car, because on a bike you don't have the steering wheel on the opposite side of the car. Yeah. So you're just, you know, veering more to the right hand side. So I found it harder to stay on the correct side of the road, to be honest with you, but I did. And yeah, the road conditions in Wales are pretty good. In the winter it's a lot wetter because it rains all the time there. So that was just more of an adjustment, is really the road conditions. But generally, it was okay.
So that means you're never going to go back to the UK. No rain, sunshine,
no.
Everything looks good. She's here for good, boys.
Right.
She's not going anywhere, so I know you guys are probably excited about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can vlog year round in the UK, so.
What is it?
I said I don't know if you can vlog year round in the UK with the weather. Ride a few days of the month maybe.
Probably. It's like living in New York. It's nice when it's spring, summer, fall, and after that you get the, you know, good 4 months of like terrible snow days. So all good. So I do have this question for you.
Yes.
And it's good. The idea here is, what's your take on riding with guys and girls? Because in one of your videos you mentioned, man, this is the slowest I've ever ridden. It was part of one of your big girl group rides and stuff. And funny thing is, to the point, as I'm watching the video initially, I'm gonna say it here, I was excited. I'm like, man, so many girl riders, you know, let's see what's gonna happen, if anybody's gonna like wheelie or maybe smack that. It was nothing like that. It was pretty quiet. So the reason I'm kind of going towards this direction, you mentioned you watch Itchy Boots, which I like her content as well, because I like her exploring and everything else. But I'm going to say now, might be a little controversial, I do find a lot of girl content a little boring.
Okay.
So,
elaborate in which way? Just because they're not going super fast, or is it?
Not really going super fast. I just feel like when we're talking about some of the work I'll do an example of Itchy Boot. Itchy Boot always have a great, well-rounded off story. To me, I think Itchy Boot is the Casey Neistat of girl motovlogging. She has a great story. She has a great environment. and there's always some kind of hurdles to overcome. I don't know if she has a whole staff following her as she's doing this, because it seems like it's more and more elaborate as it goes, but it definitely feels like something a little bit more well put together in terms of context, a story, a whole arc. I think in a lot of cases, what I tend to see, or at least find, most girls just want to be girls, and because they're girls, they're taken off. And that's where it falls into it being a little boring. Not because they're boring people. I think, let's say if I were to say it in a guy's perspective, like when we come on the scene, you either have to be doing something impressive, you have to be skillful, or you have to be a fast boy, or one of those things. You can't just be like, hey man, what's up? We've seen a lot of the guys that comes like that, and then they either fall off or die off because their channel's boring. And to be honest, I was part of that category at some point, because I was like, I got to shape up. I have to really produce something that people want to see. This is not to knock on anyone. This is just observations, like private conversation with other people and stuff. I've seen often that people are like, oh yeah, this girl's cute. Once you get past that point, it's like, So that's where I'm kind of like alluding to here. When you said to elaborate, that's the overall idea. I don't know if you've seen something similar or your thoughts on it. And the reason I'm asking you this, because you seem like a super balanced person that I think that's going to give a great insight on it and stuff. That's why I'm like, this is a great one to kind of bring up for you.
Okay. Can you ask me the question one more time, just so I can remember what specifically you're asking?
Basically, I feel like some, not all, some female content creators, when it comes to motorcycles, appear pretty bland.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like, you still are boring. Yeah, I'm pretty boring still. See, I get the heat. Give it some thought. Give it some thought.
Yeah, I know. Now you're really making me think. I think as a woman personally who was getting into motorcycle riding 4 years ago, back in the street, I really liked having YouTube channels that women created, and it wasn't just because they were women, but they talked about some of the struggle and quotes that women go through, entering the motorcycle community, which is, male dominated, and being shorter than most male riders and not being able to touch the floor. I mean, I don't really have that problem because I do have long legs, but just hearing, some of the perspective from women as a woman, again, is of interest. But I know this is male dominated. I think over 90% of my audience are men rather than women. So I understand that there has to be some kind of element of excitement, adventure. Like I said, with Itchy Boots, like she may have more of like production, like team now, because she is pumping out her videos. Mm-hmm. So I think, yes, there definitely should be an element of excitement. I don't know if female motovloggers will be like the fast girls, like you said, like the fast boys. That's like something that I think there are some women I know who ride very fast and very talented riders, mm-hmm. but that's not like, I don't see that in YouTube, like people who vlog a lot. So I don't know, is that something that people want to see? Like I go fast on my SM1000RR, but I don't promote myself as someone who's, fast all the time, or I don't stun, like I don't do all these crazy things, but mine's more of like showing off the area. Like I live in a really nice area that people may want to visit or see and stuff like that. So I try and make it interesting. I mean, I'm open to recommendations. If anyone has any recommendations for content you want to see from a female motovlogger that, that men maybe more boring from them, I don't know. Let me know.
Well, this is not to say that stuff are boring. I think, like I said, with the space you're in, I think is a really, really good space. You're in this area where you're kind of finding exactly what you want to do and how you want to portray your channel, which is really cool. I'm seeing a lot of collabos, very open-minded to just, and again, it's a little bit different when we're talking about, because I think most girl content creators, they tend to be more in cruisers and stuff. So I think being on the super bike and stuff is always very cool. I think the avenues to explore seems to be a lot wider.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I think you don't shy away from any of those. I've seen you riding with a lot of people and just like exploring all the time. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's very true. Like a lot of the people of the female motovlogs I watched before would cruises, they had Harleys, or they had, naked street bikes, which that's what I started on too. But you don't see a lot of people who have super bikes, or women, sorry, who have super bikes and on YouTube. So, I mean, I would love to say my channel is going in the way where I'm just going to be buying like 10 different super bikes and just riding them every single day. But you know, I have to have money to do that. I would love to do that.
Guys, you heard it here first. She's gonna buy 10 super bikes.
Yeah, if someone wants to give me all the money to do it, you know, let me know, because I will. But like that kind of thing is interesting, just seeing, for me anyway, when I moved here and I started seeing women riding super bikes, I was like, you really don't see this. But in California, it is more common than other states, I think. But I find that also adds an element to my channel, because maybe people who want to ride super bikes and are women, or people who look up to people who, you know, are riding, then they may look to my channel and say, you know, if someone else can do it, then I can do it too. Because that was what it was for me, really. It was who has the type of bike that I want. Is it feasible? Is it affordable? That type of stuff. So I'm looking, kind of veering off the question now, I'm looking into my content being more about reviews on the S1000RR and like how affordable it is as well. I think that is something that people want to see. Like, I don't have tons of money, or I can just put my bike fully carbon and do all this stuff like in a month, but
not
eventually.
Not yet.
Eventually.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that so to be honest here, what's happening, you're getting the brunt of some of the tougher stuff, because every time I got girls on and stuff, guys are like, man, you go soft on her, you didn't ask her the difficult stuff. So everybody kind of, you know, come down on me later, and then now you're getting like the full brunt. But like I said, I definitely think there are definitely some very talented people that's doing some really cool stuff that I enjoy as well. Also, I think it's just our interests are a little bit different when we say in terms of some stuff are a little bit more exciting than others, because even some guys would look at my content and think it's a little bit boring. It's not all the time that I'm like doing like super fast speeds or anything like that. Right, so in that space, we can look at it in that manner. But I think there's levels of talents everywhere. Even like I said, even for myself personally, I think there was a space in time where when I go back and watch some of my old videos, I'm like, damn, this sucks, you know. And when I was doing it, when I was like cutting it down and uploading, I'm like, this is dope, I'm excited, you know, all of the fluff and stuff like that. And I think what tend to happen when you could see yourself outside of yourself, or at least be able to take criticism, harsh criticism, you can actually make adjustment really quickly and really excel really quickly. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm all about constructive criticism, and I show my videos to like friends and family sometimes and ask them, you know, is this something that you would watch? Where would you click off? Like, what did you like? What didn't you like? Like, I'm my own worst critic in a way, which I think can help me in the future. I mean, it has helped me since, like, when you replayed the first video, that was the first video I ever made. I remember being so nervous making that. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even want to post this. I'm so embarrassed. But then you're hard on yourself. You see where you had flaws, or what to do next time. And I think that's helped me personally, being my own critic, and then also having people telling me what they liked and didn't like, so I could kind of correct that in my future videos.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm gonna roll this clip real quick of your girl group ride. I think that was pretty cool. I like that too. Just seeing everyone kind of rolling deep. That's always cool.
Ad says, must be able to ride a motorcycle no-handed and film simultaneously. Get on the freeway. See how this goes. Oh my God. So they were saying that there are some people who've never ridden in a big group before. This is definitely the slowest I've ever been on a freeway.
There you go. She's a fast girl. She's a fast girl. You said it. You said it.
This
Oh no, that video, I was going at most 50 miles an hour on the freeway. Like it was slow, but that was because there was like 80 something riders and everyone was very, very careful and wanted to stay together because not everybody knew where we were going. So yeah, that's not my fast girl video, but it's a good one.
Baby wheelie. Flag is hot. Seen a lot of guys breaking their necks today. If you're a female rider, you know what I'm talking about.
That camera angle, though, I like that. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
So, wow. What did you say?
So that was my Insta360. That was probably the most I've ever used that camera for my YouTube channel.
Well, I had that rolling. Some people were asking, do you have any issues with watch time in terms of people watching the entire video? I'm guessing not, dude. Girls don't experience watch time problems.
You think it's all fun and games and easy for me? It's not as easy as you think it is. You know, I'm like,
nah, not for you. Not for just you, man. It's just the thing.
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I've actually been. So now I've just hit 1,000 subscribers, which was a goal of mine, and so that's good. But as we know, you need those watch hours too. So I've been monitoring them a lot, and I still haven't hit like my goal, and so I definitely still have trouble hitting those watch hours. People do watch my videos, but some of them are more watched than others. Like everybody loves the S1000RR. If I post a video about reviewing the S1000RR or just going on group rides with it, especially my videos about the pro modes, so talking about different features that the RR has, people really like that. And I think that making more videos like that, which is what I want to do, like my 6,000 mile service I just had, I want to make a video about that. Just had like my 1 year anniversary of owning the bike, so I think that would be a good video too. So those ones I think hit better than my other ones. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on too, is reviewing more about the S1000RR to get those watch hours, because I've had this channel for about a year, over a year now, and it's taken me this long to get 1,000 subscribers. You always have the people who are like, yeah, you're going to make a couple of videos and then you're going to blow up and all of this stuff, but I haven't really had a video that's gone viral, I don't think. I've just kind of been grinding and posting as much as I can and trying to be more consistent is really what I've been working on recently.
So I'm going to say this now,
Yeah.
and I think that's a cool thing. Might not be a big deal. Before I say what I'm going to say, guys, if you're watching, you tuned in, you're watching this later, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Also, I'd really appreciate it. Dragoness Moto's channel is going to be linked in the description. Let's help her get more subs and help her channel blow up, man. I think she's a dope girl. She has some dope bikes and super chill. I mean, you're getting to actually not just seeing her on the bike or anything like that. You're actually really seeing the person behind the helmet, and I think that's really cool. And outside of that, she's super smart, so I think that's cool too. The thing that I think that's dope about you that I like, and I've mentioned this also to, what's her name? Dag, it escaped me at the moment, but again, I'm making a lot of contrast between like girl writers and guy writers and girl content creators and guy content creators. I think what's dope, yes, it took you a little bit longer for you to hit that 1,000 sub. What I think it's dope and super honorable that you're not just using a visual thing to kind of get like the thirst boys or the simps to kind of come through and swarm. You know what I mean? You're actually really putting perspective in terms of skill, what you really want to do, and your talent.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I'm very big on, is promoting like good writing, having a good experience as a woman. Like you said, I'm not just there for the visual appeal. Like I honestly could do videos all day without even showing my face. I just, sometimes I like to have that interaction with the camera, and it does help because I like it when I watch YouTubers, like seeing them vlogging when they, you see their face and you see them on the bike. So
yeah,
you'll notice in my first few videos, I really wasn't showing my face at all, or what I look like or who I was. But yeah, I'm all about just promoting good riding and and just encouraging people who want to ride to start riding is really my main thing too. Because so many people talk to me about wanting to ride, like, yeah, I want to start now, and I've had this friend who had this bike who wants me to learn with him or her or whoever it may be. So I'm always encouraging that if the person is interested. So yeah, that's my main goal, is just sharing the passion, and then also sharing where I live and what kind of stuff goes on here. Because Southern California has some crazy events. Like the views are wild. Like I've never seen anything like. The mountains are amazing. Like I'm still in awe every time I ride around here. So I like to be able to film that and capture that and show people who want to visit or live here and just haven't explored, different mountains or beaches or different events that go on in the beach cities. Like there was just a cars and copters event. People had like the helicopters and all the supercars are on the beachfront. My camera wasn't working for that, so I don't have a video, unfortunately, but stuff like that. And then like huge girl rides. Like you don't have, some like, I think Miami, they have like a group down there. So there's been a couple of videos out, but you don't get to see that kind of stuff on YouTube. And the type of stuff I like to post about are things that I want to see. So that's where I'm trying to angle my videos more.
So you have a really unique perspective, though, at least,
Yeah.
And I think that's something I could totally relate to, because I ride through New York, and I really wanted New York to be like a vista for my stories and stuff like that. Granted, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I had to kind of switch up formula to kind of see what's going to work best for my channel. But I think it's similar. You want your city to tell a story outside of your bike and you and stuff like that. You almost like just like a sub character in the overall arch of the story, which is really cool. And I think that's what makes things like less like, hey, it's a bikini wash kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I think that's really cool.
Exactly.
Huh?
Exactly.
So I think that's really cool. And I get it. I've gotten feedback with people like, oh, well, you're a girl. I could just, I'm going to use what I have to kind of get it rolling. And I think, what's her name? Oh my God, she's super skinny. She's too short. She rides a Triumph also.
Doodle on a motorcycle?
Doodle on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I had messaged her before too, and I'm like, hey man, it's really cool seeing you working, because when she started, she had less sub than me and stuff, and she just skyrocketed, showing the beginning stages of falling and having issues lifting up a bike, and it's like her experience was very unique to her, and some of the challenges were very unique to her and stuff. And not once she ever got out of character, like, hey, look at me kind of thing. And that was the thing that I ended up messaging her about. I'm like, I could appreciate that. I think that's really dope.
Yeah.
That it wasn't, and I've seen where people do that. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I think that's something really cool, just like that too. So I mean, after speaking to you before the stream, it already came pretty much full circle. I'm like, okay, I could see like she's doing things like that she's passionate about and stuff that you like, and not just looking for a super clickbaity.
Exactly. Yeah. My clickbaits are going to be about the bikes, about not like you said, not like me in a bikini or anything like that. But yeah, Doodle, her channel is one that I first started watching when I was learning to ride again on the street. And yeah, like you said, her showing how she like falls off, how she has issues with her being shorter and stuff like that. Like I really respect people who put themselves out there like that, especially on YouTube. And she's grown like crazy, and her channel is one of my favorites. Now she's riding like huge Harleys, and it's really really inspiring.
Yeah, her thing is super unique. I don't know if her content's for everyone. I don't think every single person. She has a specific subset of people that actually watches. I don't think the fast boys are on that, but I like seeing someone's story like that. That's in that space. So I think that's kind of cool. I think you're gonna fall in somewhere between Itchy Boot and her at some point. I could definitely see that.
That's a huge compliment. Thank you, Mike. I hope so.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because you're using smarts and the system to actually get to what you want to, and not trying to chest jump across. So that's kind of cool.
Yes, literally, yeah. Not trying to do that at all.
So not only that, I know you work on your bike on your own, right? You did the titanium exhaust on your own?
Oh no, I did not.
Oh, you didn't do that on your own.
Yeah.
Somebody did mention that.
To look like that, but I did not do that by myself.
There we go. There's some clickbait, boys.
If you watch the video, though, I explicitly say I didn't do it myself, but the title made it seem like maybe.
So who did this exhaust? See, now we're gonna get into it, boys. I know they're asking who did this exhaust. Who's the man that was? Well, who's the man or girl who did this exhaust? We want to know.
I wish. I did think about doing it myself many times, and then I would watch videos. Actually, Sazon was one of the videos I watched, because he installed his full titanium. He had his exhaust, and he was talking to me about how much of a pain in the neck the cylinders were to get the headers on, because you have to take off like the radiator, and just how stressful and annoying it was. And just the thought of doing that, like I'll do bits and pieces on my bike, but large mechanical things, the most I'll do is like an oil change or something like that. But I don't like doing that, because I did not want to mess it up. I spent thousands of dollars on a brand new exhaust, and I was like, I'm not going to be the one who messes up my own exhaust. So I actually had a mechanic I know who works on BMWs. He come and took it for me and did it in, I think it took him about 6 hours, and he does this a lot. So it took a while for him to do it. Yeah, because they had to it was on springs, so it came in like multiple pieces. So you had to basically like build it around the motorcycle. And I think there was some issue with like rewiring like the O2 sensors, because there was a lot of them. And then he had to take the whole like front, the radiator, the coolant off, and all of that stuff. So it took a long time to take everything off, install it, put everything back on. I think that was most of it, but it turned out amazing. Yeah, I love that.
I have a question. Did he do this in a shop or at your place?
Actually at his place. So he took my bike. I know and trust him, so I allowed him to have the bike. So he took it to where he lives, because he has like his own garage and stuff. So I didn't get to film any of it, unfortunately, but that's why it wasn't on the channel. So it was just, he went, did everything there.
Now, I do have this one question, because a lot of people tend to have a lot of problems with certified mechanic working on their bikes and stuff. They always feel like they're getting ripped off or something like that. I'm glad you mentioned that the exhaust on that, I'm about to say Street Fighter. I have PTSD from the Street Fighter install that I did.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I will forever be scarred taking this bike apart, brand new, and doing the exhaust.
I didn't want those bad memories with my baby, you know. Someone else could do it.
I've gotten people message me like states away, like, hey man, can you come and do mine? I will pay you. I'm like, you can't pay me enough to do this. I will not do it twice. And and if I had to do it again, I'd pay to get it done, really. I mean, I did it, granted, I did it for a video and stuff like that, and it was more of a business transaction. So, but so just to kind of skew away from that, would you say that in most cases, right, certified mechanics are official, or they're overcharging, since you actually witnessed them taking 6 hours to do your exhaust?
So, well, in California, they can't actually do it in the garages. Like my BMW dealer could not install my full titanium exhaust.
We're not moving to California, babe. We're done.
Yeah.
No.
But if you know people who know how to put exhaust on and will do it outside of work hours, I'm sure they would do it, you know? But yeah, so legally they can't, because I spoke to the dealership, because I'm pretty close with my local dealership here, and they were like, yeah, no, if we get found out that we install this exhaust, it's like a $30,000 fine, and they can have like stuff. I don't know. There was a lot of fines involved and a lot of trouble that they were getting if they did it. They can't even sell. I believe they can't sell bikes that have aftermarket exhaust on them either. So,
wow,
that's also interesting. And that was something that I thought was interesting moving to California, because I had so many, when I lived in Florida, it's just do whatever you want.
Oh, it's Florida, you know.
It's Florida, yeah, they don't care.
Florida, no,
So I was thinking of that, and then everyone's like, oh, when you move to California, it's going to be crazy. They're like really big on emissions. You can't have a loud exhaust. You can't do this, you can't do that. So I was like, all right, I'll keep at that time I just had my Triumph, so I just have an Aeriel slip-on. It's not a full system. So I was like, oh, that's fine, it's not too loud. I come here, and since living here, I've heard the loudest bikes ever, like in the beach cities, like in the inland areas. Like no one has their baffles in, everyone's super loud, and they're less strict than I thought they were. But when it comes to dealerships actually installing aftermarket like performance parts, like they won't put a tune on there, they won't install your exhaust and stuff like that. They're pretty, in my experience, they're pretty strict about that. So you can just have someone outside of the dealership do it, which is what everybody does, or they do it themselves.
So I have news for you. I hear in New York they're slowly cracking down on exhaust. They're doing decibel readers now in neighborhoods where if you're passing, they just snap a ticket. It's almost like a red light ticket almost. That seems to be the thing. I haven't experienced it yet, but I've heard people that already got tickets already. But just to kind of go off that, since they can't install it legally there for you at a dealer or anywhere else, so what happens when you get pulled over? Or can you be fined for having an exhaust?
Yes, you can. You can be fined for having an exhaust. You can be fined for it being too loud. I've personally never had a ticket for that, but I know people who've had tickets for their exhaust sounds for them being too loud. And that's more common in certain areas of California.
Okay.
Others. So they just tell you, just don't really ride through there, and don't rev, and don't be too loud. But with some exhaust, you can't help it. They're just loud.
So they end up letting you go, or they fine you? How does that work?
They definitely fine you. I don't know if they can. They can probably take the bike off you. I don't know anyone who's had their bike like towed or confiscated, but if they wanted to, I believe they could.
Somebody in the chat mentioned here it's a fix it ticket.
Fix-it ticket.
So if you don't fix it, then that's, dude. The exhaust that I've installed, I mean, granted, the Monster and the Hyper is pretty easy. I think that could be swapped out fairly easy. But the Street Fighter, there is no going back after you take that apart. That's it. It's donezo. Oh, yeah. We're talking about going to the rear header, the front header, to shimmy them to, because on the Ducati and the V4 engine, it's basically the back headers going down, the front headers going down, sandwiching the catalytic converter, right? Forget it. It's just done. They could just write me a ticket for that. I wouldn't touch it. I'm not doing that again.
I would not change it all back over. But yeah, no. The fix-it ticket is, that's right. Whoever said that in the chat. So that's normally what they give you, and that's that can be for anything.
So
like aftermarket parts.
That's pretty wild that they're not even allowing people to even install exhaust anymore, and I think that's a really big downplay. I don't think motorcycle exhaust is big enough of an issue. I guess the noise aspect is different. Pollution, we're talking about a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like big on the emissions here.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Sometimes you can't even, when I try to purchase my exhaust, there was some issues with purchasing it with a California address. Like sometimes, depends on where you get it from. Some people won't even ship it to California because it's against their policies. Yeah. So again, I don't know the ins and outs of that. When I was in the process of buying it, some websites were specific in saying that they would not send an exhaust to a California address because of all of the rules around.
I think they're just afraid of getting caught, because company-wise, if they get caught, they're going to be screwed. Yeah, basically, none of my bikes are useful in California. They cannot be ridden because my bikes are just, the KLX I could ride. That's not a problem.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And I could ride
my Triumph's still fine, I think.
That's fine. That has no exhaust. So.
Yeah, it's real quiet. It's a triple, so it just sounds like it just whizzes down the freeway.
That triple sounds nice still, man. Oh my God. I was out in Texas and I tell you, if the Triumph people were nicer to me when I went to their dealership, I would have a bunch of Triumph right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I went there. It was all right. You know, they treat me like a broke boy, and I not to say anything. I did show up like a broke boy because I like doing that. That's always good.
Yeah.
And
See how they treat you.
yeah, the vibe wasn't good, man. It was on some funny style stuff. After that, I've never really looked back. But I do have a soft spot for Triumph. I think their street triple and speed triple are amazing bikes. I was out in Texas and I rode one, cranking that thing open. Oh my God, with the quick shifter and auto that bike is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You must have had the speed triple then.
Sorry?
Did you have the speed triple or a street triple?
A street triple.
Oh,
But
the
it
Oh, the
was
RS?
decked out. It was tuned. SE exhaust on there with the quick shifter and auto. The bike's amazing. It's like really dope bike. I don't even think you need more than that really. It's just like overkill.
Yeah. I mean, that's really decked out. Yeah. I was so close at one point living in Florida to trading my street triple for the RS. Like that has all the upgraded suspension and brakes and all that stuff. But it just didn't work out at the time. But I keep thinking about that and I'm like, yeah, should I upgrade? Should I get something else? Like I'm itching to get something else at this point. But I can't add a third bike and I don't really want to get rid of either of my bikes at the moment. So
that BMW though is perfect because
it is.
I think you had a really good place for YouTube. I think with super bikes are super popular.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Naked bikes are a little bit tougher to grow a big audience around, only because I feel what I think happened is people that are into naked bikes are people that are very like past the point of like motorcycles are cool and fast kind of thing, just the looks of it. And now they can appreciate, it's almost like the people that start appreciating cruisers and dad bikes and stuff like that. And they start understanding there are more to just like the super bike look. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. In my ideal garage, I would have a track bike because I enjoy the track. I'd have a track bike, a naked bike, maybe a hyper naked, and then a super bike. Like I have my double R, I keep that. And I'd also have an adventure bike. Like I recently rode the S1000 XR. I just my new videos about that. And then I also rode the 1250 GSA, the BMW. And that thing is, so I can see how people ride around the entire country on those things. Because you feel barely any wind, like you're bolt upright, like you have all of the protection from the wind. It's so nice. Heated seats, heated hand warmers. It's great. So I can see how people would, really want to have those adventure bikes as well. It's just something I'm there yet.
I've always said that if I get an opportunity, I'll have a Diavolo and I'll ride it through the U.S. I would do that. I rode the Pikes Peak. That's the bike. I use. That bike is amazing.
I'm jealous.
that bike is amazing. It's one of the best Ducatis I've ridden.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I've heard that. Yeah. They're expensive though, aren't they?
What bike is not expensive now? Here's the real question. What can you get that's cheap? That's like
I don't know.
The new S1000RR with the winglets. Oh, so fire. The single R is pretty. I'm okay with the winglet, but the performance is really dope. You can't get anything if you don't have like $25,000 anyway. Something nice.
That's true. I mean, yeah, something nice, decent, and quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, those new S1000RRs are nice. The single R, the M1000 single R, that thing looks amazing. I would love to test ride that when those come out, but.
The performance I like in that bike. It looks good on paper. Everything looks great. The winglets look like it was an afterthought. It was like everyone's doing winglets. Let's throw them on. They look great on the double R. Like it passed right down the nose and it fits. It's so dope. But the single R feels like it's aiming up, very Batman-esque almost. I mean, I'm gonna hold my opinion until I see it for real. Somebody in the live chat mentioned the BMW R9T, Kuya Ed. I'm actually reading your name right. He must be Filipino or Filipina.
Yeah.
One of the two. Kuya Ed. The BMW R9T, that bike. I was closet loving that bike for a long time. I went to the dealer and I found they're heavy.
They're heavy?
They're heavy, and I didn't like that aspect of it at all. After I love the aesthetics on how it looks and the styling, because it's a very like hip bike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and then I sat on it. It's super heavy, and it is top heavy. Also, it feels like it needs a steering damper. It's very flip floppy in terms of the steering wheel. So I got turned off from that, but I still very like much the aesthetics. Yeah, I know Kuya means big brother.
Yeah, I've actually around a lot of R9Ts. So the dealership I went to in Riverside in California, the like head salesperson, he has an R9T, but he's decked his out. Like he has clip-ons, like I think he just redone it now. He's got all like carbon fiber on it. Like he's really, it looks like an R9T, but it's a very like souped up one. And he hosts an R9T group. Like there's a bunch of people around Southern California who go ride like every month. So I've actually met a lot of people who have R9Ts. And it's very rare that I actually see an R9T in its stock form anymore. Like a lot of people are modifying them because I think they're great bikes. It's just like you said, there's some adjustments that make it even better. So,
I agree. When I visited Motivation USA, they had two R9Ts there, and they fixed it like completely different. The bike was beautiful. It rode nicely. It felt light. It's different. I think it's one of those things where when companies making a bike, what happens is that they have to factor in, do we do some of the premium stuff? And then the price for the entry price point for everyone becomes a lot higher. I think in a lot of cases, Ducati tend to not care. They just throw everything on there, except a fuel gauge and cruise control. They'll throw everything else but those things.
Yeah, they're keeping you on the edge of your seat until like 2027 when maybe they'll release one of those features.
2070. We're talking about 2070. Nah, you know what it is? They're just super focused on like race ready. Everything is like race. So they try to not focus too much on if it's not something that's beneficial to like cornering or speeding. Yeah, you don't see it on there. And I think that's beautiful about the BMW. BMW, they don't have any strings in MotoGP. They're, I think, in World Superbike, yes, they're just entering now, but they don't have anything to prove in that aspect. So BMW's idea is to build a great bike that is really fast and efficient, and has all the creature comfort that everyone would actually understand, which I personally think BMW has helped Ducati a lot. I've said this before over and over, because they had the winning formula for a very long time. I think for like first, when we were doing 1299 Panigale, like 1299, 1199, the bikes were pretty hot. They were fast, but they weren't as fast as the M1000 when they did the bipedal look. Was it?
They changed the asymmetrical headlights.
Yes. Yeah. So I think they made a lot of those.
Yeah.
Hold on, somebody mentioned here. Yeah, Mabute. See, I could speak Tagalog too. He said, "Kumusta kayo?" Kumusta ka? Let me see. Motivation. You say got most of my 9T parts from there. Yeah, man. If you're looking for any parts from Motivation, links in the description. You shop with them. You support us. Salamat. Man. But I'm just gonna roll another one of your clips here. Just want to kind of highlight another piece of your channel here. I want people to see it, guys. Make sure you subscribe to her channel, man. It doesn't get better than this. Usually, what tends to happen, the ladies are very good looking and they're not as nice. You got like the complete thing. She's smart. She rides. She has a super bike. She has a naked bike. Super cool. What do you want? Come on, show her some love, man. Sup? Let's rock one of these videos here. I want to do this. The Moto News one. I thought that was kind of cool when you were trying that out.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about doing this again, but
welcome back to
I haven't recently.
Dragoness Moto, and today I'll be reporting some of the top motorcycle related stories of the week. And I draw on sources such as Motorcycle News, which is a UK based newspaper, one of my favorites, and also Revzilla, Cycle World, and other motorcycle news outlets. Alright, let's get started. First big piece of news, the world exclusive, is that Triumph is going to be entering the off-road world. They're going to be making enduro and motocross motorcycles. That's so cool. This is a project for 2022. Two very successful motocross and enduro motorcycle racers, Ricky Carmichael and Ivan Cervantes, are going to be heading this bid. Side note, Ricky Carmichael actually deals with the same motorcycle dealer that I bought my Triumph Street Triple from here in North Florida. So he lives fairly close to me. Anyway, Triumph have not yet confirmed what bikes they're going to be building, but this is going to be information that I imagine will be revealed fairly soon. Really excited for it. This is also a really exciting time for off-road consumers. Let's see what they've got. Next piece of news. KTM are revealing the 890 Carbon Clutch.
You know what I thought that was cool about watching this? Early on when we first started the stream, I said, oh, you know what's dope is that you're exploring with the channel. And when I watched this, you know, you sitting in the garage with your bike and kind of doing the news and stuff like that. It's really dope seeing you just exploring things. And that's one of the part that I miss about doing motorcycle content. I think at some point where you saw 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, you're pretty much locked into whatever you got people hooked on. And I think it's always like very reminiscent to me, like, hey, you could actually enjoy doing content or at least doing what you like and still enjoy yourself. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love doing those videos. Honestly, like I read the news motorcycle related news every week. So I have a lot to talk about in terms of motorcycles. I think a lot of people are surprised by my breadth of knowledge because I like to talk a lot about different types of bikes. So yeah, maybe I'll bring those videos back. I don't know if people are interested. I know there's other YouTubers out there who do an incredible job about updating everybody about different bikes coming out or the news in the motorcycle world. So maybe we'll be seeing more from me on that.
Yeah, even myself, I made an attempt at doing the motorcycle news as well. Probably most likely inspired by Moto Bob as well. I do like his channel, and basically in the process of me bringing, because there was a period of time where I stopped doing YouTube and I came back.
Yeah.
And just reinvigorating the channels, like doing motovlogging. The motovloggings are great, but for some reason they just never seem to really hold a candle for like super long term time frame or basically some retention time. So that's something that at least my personal channel struggle with. So I'm like, oh, stream would be perfect, and at least one of them definitely stuck. I do the motovlogging for sure, and in the stream was another one of the concepts. I was like, would it be great to kind of talk with people every Sunday? And I'm finding that it's a little bit more challenging than I was expecting as you're doing it. And not only that, and I'm also finding I need to find someone to kind of just plainly just look for guests and just pre-screen them, because doing that and working and doing everything and then prepping, like earlier when I was talking to you, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna message you 10 minutes before. It's like 4 minutes before because I was still prepping the clips and stuff.
I was ready, don't worry.
So, you know, it's one of those things, and I think that's super cool just seeing those. Those are the things that I like to say. I saw another one of your videos where you did the boat ride the first time with your bike. That was kind of cool. There's just a lot of little things, I think. And I think it's just one of those nostalgic things for me. It's like, man, I remember when I was just starting out. That was fun. Yeah. Now it's like work.
See, I find now though editing for me is much easier. I still have my challenges, but my first like 5 to 10 videos, I would spend like days editing, and I was so nitpicky about what I put in and how the music was. And now I'm like more used to it, and I enjoy it more because first of all, it takes me less time, but also because I know like what to cut, what to add in, what my intro is going to roughly look like. But yeah, it was definitely fun at the beginning, just trying out new things. But it's also stressful because you're like, what are people going to like? You have like 20 subscribers and you've got like 3 views, and you're like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do with this, you know? So it's definitely got different challenges now, but yeah, I like the progression I've had.
So where do you see your channel going? Like, what's the direction you're thinking that you would really want to see? Like, I want to profile her in my SBI. Please make the contact. Man, Mr. Black Moses, stop playing around. So he does run. He's a pretty prolific person in the motorcycle community, and he does have a motorcycle magazine, a couple of events. So definitely, I'll send you a message to hit up Mr. Black Moses. He wanted to feature you in his digital magazine, so that's gonna be kind of cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I just started following him on Instagram. So
oh, he's good people. Good people. Yeah. I went to one of his event he hosted maybe a month ago in New Jersey. It was like a 5 hour back and 5 hours going, 5 hours coming. awesome time. Jason Britton was there. Henrietta was there. She was a stunt girl also. Lots of triumphs. The whole thing was cool. Even who else was there? The Killer Cam was there. A lot of people. It was super cool. Very positive environment, and everyone was super, super cool. So really, really great guy. So definitely hit him up for that feature. It's gonna be really cool. David Piccioni mentioned here, coming in really late. It's hard to get on here on time because of bedtime with my son. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We did, and it just got better because you were here. Oh man, it's good though. I love doing this. It is always difficult to kind of get everything all together, the time frame and stuff. Like I push dinner back with my wife. It's like waiting for dinner and stuff as I do this. And it's like on Sundays we used to like go out to farms or hang out, whatever. It's like now I have to cut the time so I could cut people and cut clips and stuff. But once you break it down, you get here, everyone's here. It's like it's worth every second. You know what I mean? I appreciate you coming on, seriously.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you reaching out and that we were able to finally pick a date.
That was my fault, guys. I kept on messing up the date, so I apologize.
We were just delayed back and forth, and then I was like, okay, let me put this in my calendar now because I need to have this date.
Yeah. So as we were saying a little bit earlier, so where do you see it going? What do you think you'd want it to be known for? The particular idea and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of talent. And I find it personally, even for myself, it's difficult finding that space that you want to fit in. Like, for example, most recently I hung out with some kids locally in my neighborhood. Like, I ride my dirt bike now, and kind of like, there's a whole other thing, by the way. For those of you guys that are keeping up, yes, I'm back to wheelie practice, and I crashed like 4 times. Was that yesterday, sweetie? Was it yesterday I crashed like 4 times?
Oh, yesterday?
Oh my God, yesterday I crashed like 4 times, man.
Oh no.
That's crazy. I looped once. I looped the bike. Okay, fine, which was good. So I'm doing it on dirt now. So that's the thing. I'm doing it on dirt now, and I'm getting super comfortable and getting a little overtly confident, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm having such a great time. I found a spot. It's wide open. Dude, I started doing rolling burnouts all of a sudden, just going a little bit harder for no reason. I'm like, oh, you're so stupid. And I'm doing this rolling burnout like across this long field. I'm like riding the very front, and I'm riding in the front brake a little bit. Of course, you guys know that's a no-no on dirt and grass. And I locked the front. Oh my God, I ate it so bad. Rolled off on the side and everything. I got clips of it and everything, but
looking forward to seeing that.
I got it on video. So all that stuff's gonna be shown. But on a good note, though, I'm doing way better with the 1 foot down wheelie, and completely from full stop to balance point. So I hated it. It scared the hell out of me in the very beginning. And after speaking with this other guy, and he was like, hey, this is what you need to do and how you're going to do it. I basically dumped the bike, and I wrecked it in ruining the pegs. When I got it to be repaired, when I got to the repair shop, the guy's like an expert old school stunt guy. And he was like, do you mind if I sit on your bike and try it? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You're going to work on it. You know what I mean? And he sits on it, he cranks it open, and he just pops a wheelie right then and there with no pegs on.
Oh
He's
God.
just doing donuts with it. I'm like, holy shit. My mind's blowing and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I just started, man. I'm just practicing and stuff. He was like, try doing it from standstill, super slow. He's like, super slow and controlled, and from there it'll be easy. Yeah. And I go out there and just clutching it up. And I had a eureka moment, by the way. I'm totally derailing from our conversation, but I got to do a little update real quick. So it's one of those things, you can't explain it, okay? You can't explain. I'm just going to do it a full screen. Give me a second, quick second. Nicole, 1 second. You can't explain it. Full screen, right? So, it's, earlier I was saying it's like a quick motion. So if you listen, and I can only do it by ear, I can't really explain it. It's 1 foot down, right? It's, you hear the RPMs rumbling, right? Maybe if you like 1,000 or whatever, well, that's for a bigger bike, but this bike is like maybe 400-600 RPM or whatever. You hear it, you just crank it, right? You see that? It's not, I can't explain it, but it's like, it's not, So that's just gonna flip back. If you go, see, it's like, I can't, I know my wife is totally laughing at me, but I have a detailed video. I'm gonna explain how to do this. It's like, stand still, you open up the throttle, you're letting a little bit of RPM out, right? Clutch is in, and then you left it out, right? But then you don't fully go back on the throttle hand, but you don't fully close on the throttle hand. So you go from back, leveling it, right? Keeping your eyes at the horizon, right? It's gonna clutch up to balance point, and then the second that's just gonna ride you slowly forward, and then rear brake. Eureka moment. I was there till like 11 o'clock at night in the fucking dirt doing it. That's how bad it was. I was like, oh my God, it's so good. So now I'm just like trailing 1 foot behind as I'm doing it. So it's just one of those things, but super excited. The progression, it's like intoxicating. I just like want to go, and I'm like, I gotta do a stream tonight. Should I go in the dirt? And it's like, it's night. It's like, it's kind of stupid and stuff. So that's when you make mistake, when you get all thirsty like this. So
yeah, that's fun.
so that's my little short little update on wheelie. Every day I always do the update on how's it going. But those 4 crashes that I did, and it's great when you're on the grass. If you fall, I had the one bad fall I did. I fell when I clutch up the bike, and I panicked instead of hitting the rear brake. And I was holding the handlebars, and the bike goes back, and I'm still holding like a big dummy. And then I fall in the rear wheel, and I spun around on the back wheel, which is great. But I got to tell you guys, my Icon jacket's amazing, which I got from Clutch Control Event. I tried it on. It was so dope. I bought it. It comes with all the armor, and I just dusted off. See, I'm in one piece and still having a good time.
Look at you.
Oh my God, the nonsense, man. I'm sorry, I totally just derail on that. Usually, I usually talk about that before and everything, but with the whole thing from yesterday, I had to clear this up for everybody to know what's going on. So, just geeking out a little bit.
What are your other goals with riding in the dirt? So you want to perfect your wheelies. What else do you want to do?
Just want to do wheelies. Like I'm doing a lot of rolling burnouts, and I'm doing some skids and stuff, and drifting. I think I'm gonna, after I get my wheelies completely tight, I'm going to just practice drifting. I'm gonna change to street tires and not ride the dirt anymore, and practice drifting. I'm finding that it's. I mean, I have the other bikes. They're fun and they're fast and everything else. I mean, you can only do that for so long, and I really don't want to get tickets and fines and everything. It's just a lot, and I just want to find other ways of enjoying myself and stuff, and just really honing those skills is more than fun. Like my wife would be like, "Oh, why don't you go ride one of your real bikes?" Like she doesn't think this bike is real. To her, it's like it's a toy.
Like a toy.
She's like, go ride the real bike. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna ride the little bike. It's like a tiny bike. And the other day I went out in the morning. I'm like, oh, let me go scout for like a place to go and ride, right? And practice where it's quiet, because it's not a legal bike, but I try to be as polite as possible to the neighborhood. I'm not like cranking it up and down my neighborhood or whatever. I find somewhere I don't have an exhaust on there. I don't intend to put one on there and stuff like that. I'm not looking to make the bike fast. I just want it to be functional. By the way, shout out to Kawasaki. I've dumped that so many times, and it just gets right back up and work. That's like brilliant. And I pulled off, and I went to a cul-de-sac and stuff going down by my house, and this kid was like, hey, man, you remember me? You remember me? He was like on a Vespa when he saw me practicing wheelies and stuff. I was in a parking lot. It's like, man, come with me. I'm going to grab my dirt bike. I want to show you this road. He takes me to this place called like Abandoned Railroad or something like that. There's jumps and stuff. And it's like, I would have never known. And then he calls his friends, like 4 other dirt bikes shows up. And everybody's like, man, you have stickers on. It was just like super cool. It's a whole different aspect of riding, really. It's really fun. Now everyone's like messaging, what are you doing next Saturday, man? So...
You get in with all the groups. I love the motorcycle community.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
And they're super, they're like, they invite you to anything.
Everything. Now it's like, hey man, you have stickers. I want to get some stickers. You have shirts. I want to get shirts and stuff. So, and of course, cool. Yeah, and of course they're like, man, you on YouTube? Oh my God, it's like the biggest thing. And it's like, to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't think my channel's big, dude. And they're like freaking out. So that's cool in itself. And But I'm super excited. I can't wait to continue and stuff. And I think more and more, I try to do it very safe. I did buy the boots to actually ride. By the way, heads up, like the boots that I bought, I'm somewhat not using them anymore. I like wearing them. They're very safe. I think in the beginning you should wear the big boots and stuff like high boots. The problem that I have is the boots are so high and they're clamped up to my up my shin all the way to my my calf. It's hard to kind of actuate my foot. Maybe my boots haven't been broken in yet. Like they're still.
How long have you had them?
They're brand new. Maybe.
Yeah.
They're brand new.
Do some laps around the house in them or something.
Yeah, because I much prefer to do that stuff with it because I don't want anything bad to happen. Like, as I'm doing this, I'm doing all the risk, and I know all the risk, and I want to minimize everything. Jacket, gloves. I bought your gloves, by the way, yesterday. When I went to Cycle Gears, I was like, how's the wheelie going, man? Take this glove. They're so great. And I bought your I was watching your video. I bought your gloves. And because they have like protection, slide protection, and it goes up to the wrist.
Alpine style ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are great. And I've actually crashed in those gloves before. And because there's carbon fiber on the knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
And when I crashed, I was sliding on my back, so I pounded my fist into the floor to bump myself up before I got run over. And as I did that, it grinded off all the carbon fiber, but it did a great job. Like I still have them.
Wow.
Sides were like intact still. None of the seams broke, nothing. The Alpine style, like the Style Fit for women, that's the ones that I have. They fit perfect. I love those. So crash rated too, so they're pretty good.
Nice. See, now you gotta elaborate on that crash. I want to know, what did you crash and where? And everyone's telling me I gotta break in those boots, but I much prefer to wheelie with the boots on because I have this fear that if I dump the bike on my foot, plus I don't want to be out of work. I don't want to like be stuck, like not riding. I'd rather do everything nice and safe and not really worry about it. And I wore my brand new Alpine Stars riding sneakers, which I wear those to like when I ride to like bike events and stuff. Dude, they were muddy as hell. I hosed them down with like when I got home at night. So I'm gonna try it.
Have you tried TCX?
I don't have TCX. I have all my boots, all my gear are Alpine Stars that I swapped after meeting up with Eve, and I went out to Texas. There was a Alpine Stars person that was in Texas, and they kind of made a plug for me and stuff. So I just been rocking their stuff.
Yeah, Alpine Stars great. Yeah, I have I guess I have a mix of everything. I have Alpine Stars jacket, gloves, but then I just bought the Dainese boots, the Talk Out 3, I think they're called.
Mm-hmm.
I like canyon riding and stuff, and those are nice, but Alpine Stars just fit, like the clothing fits me so well. So I need to buy more. I need a new tracksuit and a bunch of other stuff. So it's just hard to find women's stuff around here. Just got to order a bunch of things, try them all on, and then send stuff back. But
so where did you crash and how? What bike did you crash?
So I've actually crashed on. I didn't crash on my Triumph. Actually, no, I would call that a crash, but it was really low speed. This was years ago. How long ago was that? Maybe 2 or 3 years. So I was maybe like 600 feet from my house, and I came out. It was in Florida. It was in like January, so it had just been raining. It was kind of slippery, and I came out from a stop sign, taking a right turn, and as I did, I think I came out I let out the clutch a little too fast, and the back wheel spun out. And as it was spun out and kind of fishtailed and then got traction and then just like threw me off the bike. And I was maybe going like 25
you high side.
I high sided that bike.
Holy shit.
It was slow speed, but it was not a good crash. And there was no cars or anything, so I was good. I was still in my neighborhood. But I high sided it. My body like flipped around. I took off the fly screen with my thigh, so I had a huge like line bruise all the way down my leg. Because I just the way my body turned, and then I just ground my helmet on the floor because my leg got stuck on the top of the bike and just dragged me up the road with it. So my helmet was sliding on the floor, which is why I'll always wear a full face helmet, because the crashes I've had, I've hit the chin bar on my helmet. And
she's like, I'm gonna protect my money maker.
Yeah, I was like, I want my chin and my jaw. So definitely always wearing my helmet. But yeah, it was just outside of my house, and that was on my Triumph again, I think that was like 2 years ago or so, 2 or 3 years ago now. But my BMW, I recently low-sided that in a right-hand turn.
Wow.
And that was just, yeah. I haven't done a full video on it. I mentioned it in a couple of my videos, just briefly, but I haven't done a full video on it yet because I wasn't filming. Of all of the crashes I've had, I've not been filming. And the one that I most recently had, like a little incident, I was filming, but then my GoPro stopped working because of the impact on the GoPro. So I don't have any footage of it. So I can't be like that clickbait of me crashing my double R, which I'm sure many people would love to see. But
you know what's
that
you know what's so funny? I have like a golden rule. I almost high side just like you. I left home. So I think there's two things that happen, at least to me personally. It might be different for everybody else. When I'm going for a ride, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm to say that I'm super excited when I'm going for a ride. So just leaving, it's like excited. And there's something about the way my bikes are set up and the way it's sound, and it always get me super ramped up, right? Jumped on my Monster and I'm heading out. I pulled out on my driveway, and that was purely cold tires in it. And I almost high side just exactly like you explained. Came out my driveway, made a left turn, cranked the throttle. The bike kind of spun so hard and it caught traction. I got lucky. Like it basically like caught traction and flipped me, and I flipped back onto the saddle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Luckily, I fell right back on the saddle, and that was the day. And I was like, holy shit. And so after that, it was like leaving my house, I'm chill. Coming back home, like a mile away from home, I toned everything down. Because again, so what tends to happen, like on my way home, it's usually after long days of riding, like in the canyons or the city or whatever. And then getting home, you know, you just want to get there. So you're just like going really fast to get home. And usually I don't tape stuff like that because I don't want my channel to be super associated with stuff like that. And I had the same slip up too, you know, exiting an off ramp, almost, you know, high side as well. Now getting home like a mile away, I tone everything down, everything. Yeah. And I'm just like coasting home. I'm like, you made it through the whole day, so don't fuck it up now. That's always my thought now. It's like, Because
then, especially like if you've been riding all day, like I'll go out and ride from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. and I'm coming home and I've been out not riding full for 12 hours, but you know, you ride for a long time and you're exhausted and it's dark and you just want to be in, you know, in the shower and then in bed.
Yep.
So I also get like that sometimes where you kind of get tunnel vision and you just want to get home as quick as you can. But I always have that reminder now, like ever since that crash. And then I looked more into the research and everyone's saying, most crashes happen.
Yes.
I think it's within like, I want to say like 3 to 4 miles of your home.
Yes.
When you're leaving or coming back, because like you said, you get excited when you leave. You're just getting in the rhythm. You haven't ridden for a while or whatever. And then coming back is when you're tired and you just want to be home. So you're rushing and you're not concentrating. Like, and that really resonated with me. So now I'm definitely more careful because, especially here, I live very, very much close to a freeway. So my couple miles before home, I'm mostly on a freeway. And if something happens on a freeway, that can be tragic. So I'm very, very cautious of that.
Yeah. Or the other thing could be like if you had an amazing day, you had great day, and you super lit going home, and you just pushing and pushing and pushing. I remember one time we rode till like 4 a.m. We were riding with friends and stuff like that. I was actually with my wife that day. And usually to get home, it's about like 40 minutes. And that day we got home like 18 minutes tops.
Ooh.
Oh my God. We were just going insane on the road. And I'm like, you know what? That was so dumb. Got home so fast, and when I got home, my back tire looked like I did a track day, full side, and I was riding 2 up, and I was like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever done with someone else. And it was just like, what are you doing? And I looked, and I haven't done that. It's been years now since I've done that. I mean, we all have our moments, right? So you learn, and thankfully we're still here to learn from them. So it's pretty wild. So you said you crashed the S1000 too, right? But it doesn't look like there's any damage on your bike. Everything looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, there was some damage, but it didn't total out the bike, thankfully, because I didn't want that, and there wasn't enough to total out completely. So most of it was fairing damage. I didn't have a frame sliders on there when I crashed. Idiot, so I just took the brunt of it on my fairing. My exhaust took a lot of it too. So I still had my stock exhaust on. So that just like got shredded because I went down on the right. That, and then what else was there? My clip-on was a little bent, so they had to change the clip-on, and the front brake, my foot peg, and my rear brake, took a blunt too. So I had a lot of things fixed, but it was fixable, thankfully, and it wasn't a high side on that because a lot of the time high sides at certain speeds can just total out your bike. So it's back up and back, but it took a while. It took a while to get it back with my insurance, but I managed to get it sorted.
Here's a good question that I have for you that I think is super interesting. I mean, you've been down twice, and I've been down to multiple times. And I always ask people this, like, how did you find yourself coming back on the bike and really experiencing things? I've noticed things change with me a little bit. I'm a little bit more conscious about it and certain things. It takes a little bit to kind of get super comfortable again and get super confident. The confidence is not really a big thing. I think for me, when I went down, it's more like trusting the bike again is more the tough part. Then I realized it's not the bike, it was me that fucked up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. So for the first one on my Triumph, like that's the first time I had dropped my Triumph once, like when I first got it and I'm trying to do U-turns and stuff. But other than that, like I'd never gone down, I'd never had a crash, and that really shook me up. And I was quite like worried to get back on the bike, but I pushed myself and I was like, just get on it, and try and get over it kind of thing. Because if you just sit here and just fester in fear and worry, then you'll be more averse to it. So I forced myself to get back on it and rode around a bit. But definitely what we were talking about with being more cautious, leaving the house, coming back, that's really stuck with me from that specific incident. With my double R, actually with both of them. So my gearing was a bit off, and you like correct yourself. You realize what you did wrong in those incidents. Sometimes the road conditions can like mess with you a bit, but like you said, a lot of it sometimes is us too. So my gearing was a bit off, so I'm really a lot more conscious about what gear I'm in, like how fast I'm going, what I'm doing in the turns, and kind of overthinking it, especially when I'm cornering. So when I ride like in the canyons specifically is when I'm more like extra cautious, because then you always hear about incidents of people going down in the canyons here. I didn't go down in the canyons here, but just getting into it more on the street is something which I'm a little more wary of now than I was before. I would like to get more into track riding. I think that's something that would be good for me, but I would like to have a track bike for that and not take my street bikes on the track constantly. So I think, I definitely learned from my crashes for sure. And then actually that's like my most recent one. When I was in the UK, I went in a ditch on the Ducati Scrambler, which again, so I've learned from that too, but that was just me being, over the road and a little too far left because the roads over there were really narrow. So that one shook me up because I got a bad road rash on my leg from that, which I've never had like a real incident from. So, and that one could have been on film had my GoPro not fallen off.
You're pretty resilient, man. You've had a lot of crashes, and you're just kind of.
Yeah.
Of course. Look, my dog has to be part of the stream, guys. You guys know the deal. Say what's up, Miso. She got a haircut.
What's
Look
her
over
name?
there, Miso. Come here.
Oh, she's cute. What
Say
breed
hi,
is she?
everybody. She's a cockapoo.
She is? Okay.
Yeah, her color's like called Merle.
Yeah.
So one of her ears black. Come here, show the other side. Show the nice side, Miso. Oh my god.
Oh, and her ears are different colors.
Yeah, her ear is black. She's a cutie.
She is cute. How old is she?
She's a year and a half. She's still a puppy. All right, get out of here, big guy. She always has to come on the stream. Yeah, good girl. Go. Yeah, whenever I do a stream, she always comes to my home office and just kind of come on the stream. Has to. Yeah, you're very resilient, to be honest. Like, a lot of people tend to either, crash or have a down or whatever, and then either never get back to it or anything. But, again, very similar to me. Like, any experience that I've had, I either learn from it or at least I'm going to definitely feel pretty crappy about it in the beginning. And then when you sit on it for a little bit, it's like, this is what I could have done better. One of my worst crashes was getting, I was going to say getting not rear-ended, but I T-boned, not a complete car, but like the back. But the problem is every time I run the scenario in my head is that I'm like, damn, this car is stupid. They're changing lane. It's really not the car's fault, dude. I'm riding in the street. You gotta ride a little bit slower or more cautious. I'm just like going, you know. When I think about it now, that's how it was really my fault. But in the beginning, it was like, damn, stupid car just cutting. It wasn't the car. Cars are gonna cut. It's road. It's not a racetrack. It's not an open road. It's oncoming. If I was going slower, I would have just stopped in time. So it's definitely on me. After that, I just really don't. I don't like to speed in the street anymore, or at least as much. It has to be like a place that I know where the road is open enough. It's just not worth the risk to me as much. But granted, I don't know how exciting that is for YouTube, because when you start, one thing that I've noticed that's happening when you're doing content, as you start getting a little bit older, or with every birthday that's passed, you start being a little bit more self-conscious. I'm afraid that for me, that it might make my content boring, because I think about it.
Yeah.
Like before, I would just like, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna do whatever speed. I'm just doing what. And now it's like, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's a little weird, but all good time. Somebody mentioned here, let me just read this comment real quick here. Giant Midget, love that name. Hey, Clutch, long time sub. You were one of my first role mods in vlogging, but I had to give up my bike for my daughter after her mom passed away. She's older now and was just looking to get another bike. And now I got another kid. Dang, dude, you're busy, huh? On the way, so I'll be living vicariously through y'all a bit longer. Ride safe. Yeah, man, we appreciate it. If you're tuning in, you're watching, definitely subscribe to Dragoness Moto. By the way, she's a big fan of dragons, okay? They're cool animals. They're magical. And she's magical. And of course, the nest is because she's a lady.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that, guys.
Yeah, and the dragon has a lot to do with, so I'm from Wales in the UK, which I don't know if not many people know about Wales, but our flag has a dragon on it. So that was one of the main reasons behind my name. Yeah. And yeah, dragons are awesome mystical creatures, and they stand for like strength and courage and luck. And yeah, the S is for the feminine touch. I have a lot of people ask me about that, and then I have my long-winded spiel about it, and I'm like, maybe I should have chosen a name that was less like, I mean, it's pretty meaningful to me, so I think it's good, but at the same time, it has a lot of explanation.
Well, so, oh man, I'm sorry. I looked at the comment section as I was speaking and totally throw off my thoughts.
Oh, what did they say?
Somebody wrote here, for me to break in the boots. High sides, no fun, literally made me do a front flip. Somehow I landed on my seat, sorta, and rolled. Yeah, there's some of those lucky high sides, and I was one of those, and I think they're really, really scary. I'd much rather low side any day over a high side, because you can break your clavicle bone.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a little weird. Off the dirt bike yesterday, I flipped over it, but it was just different because of me being a dumbass. But again, I wear all my gear. I was wearing pants, knees, shoulders. I had everything on, and I have some really good gear that doesn't feel constrained or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was cool.
It's dangerous in some ways. I remember when I was younger, when I first started, and I winded myself constantly because you come up from a jump and you just land on the handlebars. So winded. The first time I got winded was from a dirt bike, and I thought I was about to die. It was horrible. Yeah. So I was just lying there like gasping for air. And then I've had the bike fall on my my thumbnails have come off. Like I've had all kinds of.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
You're built rugged, man. Oh my god, guys, she's just not the face, dude. She's the whole thing, man.
Yeah, dirt bike riding's fun though. I've been thinking about getting back into it. I'm more fragile now than I was when I was.
Oh my god, there go with the drama. I'm the only dramatic person here, man. Get out of here with that.
The older you get, your bones aren't as strong. I'm not flexible like I was when I was like 12.
Oh my goodness.
So maybe I'll get back into it. It's just because I have the same interest in wanting to wheelie, but the amount of stories I hear about people like falling and looping and all this stuff, and I'm like, do I want to do that right now? I don't know.
But here's the funny thing. I had the same conversation too. So there's a couple of things. I've mentioned it here before. It's like the whole wheelie thing. I am going to regret it thoroughly if I don't do this. I don't care if I don't wheelie like every time I go out and ride or whatever. That's not what this is about at all. It's one of those things I want to make sure that I do it and I learn it and I'm proficient at it and I could look back and say, I did that and I wanted to and I did it. Because I'm going to reach a point I'm going to like, that's going to be dumb to even do this now. And I'm going to regret that I never did it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to live with that regret.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if it's something you really want to do, then definitely.
And I'm finding that there is the biggest learning opportunity for me with doing the wheelies, or at least practicing and learning it, getting very proficient at it, is that you don't have to get hurt doing this. I'm realizing you do not have to get hurt. All of the time that I did crash the bike or if I looped it, it's because I was excited or I was anxious and I was rushing.
Yeah.
If you pace it right, one of the biggest things that I do now, I ride for 20 minutes. I stop and I review my footage and like, oh, I got to do this. I got to change that. Stop, you know, and then go back again, 20 minutes. 20. I was doing for a couple, I remember the time that I crashed the bike and I screwed up the pegs. It was before the big rainstorm in Florida. I was like, oh, it's going to rain for like 4 days. So I'm going to get as much practice in as possible. I left the office, came home, got all geared up. For 4 hours in the dark, I'm just like wheeling in the spotlight or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, it's going to rain for 5 days straight. So I'm just going to get the most of it. And I did that. I screwed that up. Because I was just too anxious. I was just like too excited to go and do it. And, you know, if you have the boots, like one of the other falls that I did, you could hear me like fall on the floor. It's like, you hear me go, like twice. And I'm like, oh man, that sounds real bad. But then when I got home, I saw my boots, they're like super scuffed. Like if I didn't have those on, I would have had like really bad rash on my, like if you have the boots, I swapped my gloves out. I got better ones. Should be fine. And now falling on dirt or the grass, it's like falling on granted you get all dirty and stuff, but it's like falling on a big rug. Yeah. And the bike is not going to get screwed up because this is going to dig into the dirt. So it's like a win-win. And I found out crashing, you have to loop at least once to get to the space. Because what happened is there's a fear factor. There's like the sinking feeling, like a roller coaster. I think after you loop safely, you could loop safely because you're going to fall and then you just let the bike go. It's going to fall into the dirt. And then you're gonna start understanding like that feeling. Once you pass that, then you'll know to hit the rear brake. After I did that, it's been like last night, it was dark and I did it for about like 3 hours before dinner. And it was just like fine. And I was just riding it further and further out.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think it's definitely doable. My overall, I've been documenting everything. The whole overall point is really to have a comprehensive beginning, having the gear, what kind of bike you can pick, and the best way to practice, some of the do's and some of the don'ts that I did. Like, for example, learning on dirt is better than learning on concrete, because when I crashed the bike in the parking lot, which everyone says, go practice in the parking lot. And I'm like, okay. On a dirt bike, there's no give. You're talking about metal hitting concrete. There's no give. The pegs won't bend. It's just going to break things.
Yeah.
So that's a no-no. Do not practice until you only go to a parking lot after you've excelled a certain level from the dirt that you have some control, and there's very little chance of you dumping it on the actual pavement.
Yeah, I've heard that before as well.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of off-roading or like dirt bike riding translates to like street riding. I hear a lot of people who started in the dirt and rode dirt for like 10 years and then became street riders, and they're just some of the best riders I've ever ridden with. And it's really impressive because you know how it feels to fall off. Mm-hmm. You know like the balance points of the bike, you know how to handle it in different scenarios. Like street is like a breeze to some people once they've been in the dirt for a long time. So yeah, I think
I've never did a rolling burnout on any of my bikes, and now I could probably do it on the Hyper if I wanted to. It's different the way you. And what happened is, I think when you have a bike that's not very expensive, and that's one of the biggest fear too. When you pass that fear of the cost of the bike, or you could hurt your baby. It's like, I dump this bike on the ground and pick it back up. When I get home, I hose it down. It's like, whatever, I fill it back up with gas. It's like, that's one of the biggest factors. When you pass that, you can really explore what you want to do with it. I think the fear in itself, like if I dump my Street Fighter, I'd be like, oh my God, my ego, my wallet, everything hurts at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's a different thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's all good. So have you done track already or no?
I have, yeah. So I've been on the track. I started on my Triumph, so I did a couple track days in Jennings in Florida, and then I've been to Streets of Willow here on my double R, and that bike on the track is great. It's just you have to go on certain tracks to really unleash the speed of that bike, because it's so fast that like I barely got out of like second, third gear on the track I was at here in California, but I've heard there's a lot of ones that have really good straights where you can get a good speed. So yeah, so I'm hoping to go back on there, but I do have that fear with having such an expensive bike that I put a lot of my money and my passions in it. Like I can't vlog without it. Like all of this stuff is just, your ego gets hurt if you crash, and your wallet hurts a lot when you crash those types of bikes. So that's also something in the back of my mind, which is why I'd like to do a couple more track days and then really heavily consider getting a track bike, because I would like to get a cheaper bike, which I'm probably like in the 600 range, which I think would be great for the track. I really like the Daytonas, the 765s or the 675s, the Triumph Daytonas. Those bikes are incredible. I love those, but they are more expensive for like track bikes, than like an R6 or a ZX6R or something like that. But maybe I would love to add that to my garage. So
I think you probably just sold me on a track bike right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen people on the track on those bikes, and they're good. Yeah, they're really good.
Ooh, an older Daytona for track, because that's exactly how I want to do it as well. I'm gonna get a van, I mentioned before, to travel, but I definitely want to invest another maybe $6,000 on a track bike.
Yeah.
That I know if I dump it, it won't matter to me. Because I'll keep my street bike as street bikes, and I'll keep the dirt bike for me to do that stuff on. And in because again, like you said, dumping your actual bike that you ride on your regular, it hurts the feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
it does, yeah. So there's definitely room for a track bike. And I like the culture here of people going to the track. Like they go every weekend, people start to like race their bikes and they become amazing riders. So I think it really helps with improving your skill. Like that's something I want to show more on my channel, is like go into more like trainings or I don't know, going to more track days and learning new skills. Like as you ride for longer, you kind of get comfortable and think you kind of know everything about riding or know a lot. But there's so much more for us to learn that I don't think a lot of us know, which is something I want to kind of bring to the channel. I'm definitely not like an instructor by any means, but I would love to just explore it myself and just vlog my experience, and then have encourage people to do the same, because I think there's still a lot to learn in terms of riding, whether it's off-road, on the track, on the street, still a lot to learn, definitely.
My wife wrote here, Mike totally nerd out when talking about wheelies. Yeah, she has to hear it over dinner, over breakfast. I'm sorry. And I did went on a rant. I apologize, Nicole. I wanted to read one comment here. Is your YouTube he wrote that correctly. I'm reading that correctly, but wrote incorrectly. Is YouTube your main focus, or is it Instagram, since she has been posting more frequently and what's her main goal? All on you.
So is YouTube my main goal, or Instagram, or like what is my main goal overall? So yeah, I definitely been posting more on Instagram than I had previously, because I want to get myself out there a bit more than just with my YouTube channel. And after speaking to people who have like big channels, they've said a lot of the time that people will get to the channel from the Instagram. So it's a good way to kind of get a following. So I've been doing that. I also really enjoy making reels on Instagram. I'm connecting with people through Instagram. So yeah, I've definitely been paying more attention to that, but YouTube is my priority. I would say that's like my main like content space. So yeah, YouTube definitely is my number one, but Instagram's coming up. And just mostly because I can interact well with people on Instagram, make different connections. Like I've met up with other like girl riders because of Instagram. Like I've just connected with other people. Like you can't do that as much with YouTube. So I like Instagram for the social aspect, and then also for the reels because I just find it fun and enjoyable. But YouTube's definitely my main source. But my goal with YouTube is just to keep progressing the channel. Like you'd asked me earlier about the direction of the channel, which I'm not even sure if I answered that question because I think we went off about wheelies, which is great.
I'm sorry. Go.
No, don't apologize. No, it was fun. It's good. Good content. But, yeah, so in terms of the direction of my channel, I kind of like the last few videos I've been posting have really been about just me vlogging like cool group rides I've been on or events I go to. I've been going to more events recently just to get more content about like different things. Like I went to an air show, like rode around the beach cities, and there's planes in the air. That I've been on girls only rides. I've been to supercar shows a lot. I've been to like BMW only group rides, stuff like that, which I didn't experience a lot in Florida. So I was like, I like to show this. I like to, show off what I'm doing. And then also taking the double R as an experience in itself. So I was like kind of showing that off. Generally like showing off the areas I live in, just the places you can go, like travel around. Because again, there is so much variation in terms of the places you can visit in California that I didn't even realize before moving here. So, and then also if I travel, like I went to Pikes Peak in Colorado. That's actually the first time I rode a S1000RR. So I've got footage of that, which I thought was great because then I get to look back on it as well, and that's exciting. Riding in Wales, I went to Hawaii, I did a video about that. So kind of keeping up with the travel content, but it won't be exclusively travel. It'll just be, when I get to go to a cool place as well, or when I travel around Southern California. And then I think the main thing for now is my focus really on like reviewing the S1000RR and talking more about, again, I mentioned I'm going to do my 6,000 mile service, my 1 year ownership review, because I know some people have a lot of questions like around the 6,000 miles. Like a lot of people with this generation of double R's have been having issues with the engines and stuff like that. So that's the type of content I want to talk about, and just kind of get into what it can do, like double R. Because when I got the bike, luckily I had a salesperson who was really informative about the things it does, but you don't know half of the things it does until you have ridden it for like months, because I was exploring all the different functions and all of this, and there's so many things that it can do, which I want to share with other people, because that's something I was looking for when I came on YouTube. And I was like, okay, what does my double R do? How is it going to ride? What can I do to make it better? What is this function? What is that function? And there wasn't a lot of videos at the time when I was inquiring about it, so I kind of just made them myself. I just figured it out and was like, oh, let's make a video about it, it'll be cool. And some of those are the ones that really took off, and I had good feedback about people liking that stuff because they hadn't figured it out themselves either. So that was a really long-winded answer to my question.
No, you're not. You're good. You're good.
My direction is really, my direction is just to continue vlogging about cool events and rides I go on in Southern California. Vlog if I travel, if I get to ride, because I like to rent bikes and ride everywhere I get to go. And then also keeping up with my reviews on the S1000RR.
So you're gonna make it more of a S1000RR driven, because that seems to be the content that's really pulling. Right?
Yeah, for the time being. Yeah.
Now I have a question. I have to ask this question. I know you're from the UK. I have to ask this question. This is for me. I have to ask. Are you French?
I am not. No.
Oh shit! I feel like you have a lot of French.
I've been asked that question. I'm actually Greek. So
you're Greek.
I'm Greek. Yeah. I'm half Greek.
Oh my god! You know what it is? I should have known from the really dark hair, but I can't see the thickness, dude.
My skin tone's a bit off with the lights on, but I'm very olive skin tone.
I'm looking. Yeah. By the way, guys, I'm looking this way because I'm looking at her, which I should be looking at you guys. It's probably not a good look right now. But
from the UK. So my dad is British. My mum was born there too, but all of her family are from the Greek islands. So I'm Greek, half Greek. That's why I'm like, damn,
she's probably French, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Picking
a
it
lot
up
of
a little.
people. Yeah, a lot
But
of
I'm
people
not the
ask me,
first, right? That said
"You
that?
look British," and I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, I am, but my ethnicity is more Greek. I was actually just there for my cousin's wedding in Greece, but I wasn't able to rent a motorcycle. I really wanted to because the roads out there are just insane, like hairpin turns up mountains, no guardrails. Like it gets pretty wild, but yeah, it's
So I'm hoping, here's the funny thing is I'm hoping this 2023, maybe June or July would be my wife and I were going to be going to Greece. Because a good friend, a very good friend of mine, his name Pete the Greek. You would see it, some of the videos we've had, like maybe years ago. We ride together all the time. Yeah. I didn't want to go as like as a tourist, so he grew up there. So we're gonna kind of like scout around with him.
Do you know where?
Either June or July, and from there he gets to plan everything. I'm just kind of like going along for a ride and just chill. So very excited.
You don't know like what islands or if you're going on the mainland. Do you have
I think it's gonna be on an island. He said so. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Should be chill.
Yeah, let me know where. I'm interested because there's a lot of different islands that are up and coming now. Like everyone's going to Mykonos.
Mykonos, he's mentioned that as well. I think his wife is from there.
Okay, yeah. My family are from the island, like next to it, only like a 20-minute ferry ride. So I actually stayed there for when I came over, and then went over to Syros is the island, close to like Tinos and Mykonos. There's a lot of Greek islands ending in os, but yeah, they're all great. Like I love the Greek islands; they're really pretty.
Now I do have the question for the boys.
Oh, go on.
Are you seeing anybody? I know the boys are thirsty over there.
Seeing anyone? Like, am I in a relationship?
Yep.
I am. Yes.
Oh, it's done, son. Sorry, guys.
That's funny.
Nah, she's gonna lie to you guys. Go subscribe.
Sorry.
She's not seeing anybody. You're good. You're
Don't
good.
subscribe just because.
Yeah, you still have a chance. Go subscribe.
Oh, God.
Come on, guys. Did you expect any less? Come on now.
Yeah, right. I know.
That's awesome. That's too good. Let's see what else we got here. I'm just going through the chat here, see what else we can pull up.
Oh, I have a question for you. Does your wife ride?
No, she doesn't actually. We rode to Rupp most of the time, and yeah, that's always been that, really.
Does she want to?
She loves motorcycles, so I don't know. Maybe in the future, really. She has plenty of bikes to pick from if that opportunity ever comes around.
Yeah, she would learn on your Street Fighter.
She actually loves the Monster. That's probably the bike that we've ridden the most together and stuff, and she's probably pretty much connected to that bike. So
Monster is fun. Yeah,
they're fun bikes. I like that a lot. I don't really ride the bike, but well, every now and then, but it's still there. Really, I was actually gonna sell it. She was like, "Don't you dare!" So now it's just sitting there and stuff. So I ride it every now and then. She's kind of a hoarder when it comes to bikes, man.
So she's a hoarder?
No. I'm a bit of a hoarder when it. Well, she's a bit of a hoarder of bikes. But I'm like, because after the Street Fighter and you're riding that, it's like, you really don't need any other bike after that, because that bike pretty much does everything outside doing dirt and stuff, but it'll do everything. And I'm like, I don't know if I need anything else really. I probably should just get rid of it. She was like, no. So here we are. Now there's a bunch of bikes around. 4. Hopefully 5 soon.
Where you have the Street Fighter, the Hyper, the
Monster, and then the KLX, and then hopefully my super bike comes for 2023. So that should be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun. Mm-hmm. That'll be some good content too for your YouTube channel.
Then I can get my damn van.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get it. It's just the cost of cars or vans are just ridiculous. For a used van, it's
all vehicles right now are just like off the wall. They're so expensive. Yeah.
Hopefully that ends soon, because I need that van, because I'm gonna be going down to Florida, go to Atlanta, go to Texas, go out to California. I'm just gonna really just bring 2 bikes and just go pretty much everywhere and just chill. So that should be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah. And you know a lot of people in the motorcycle community, so you can just like link up with a bunch of people around.
Hopefully. Hopefully they remember who I am by then. I don't know, I'm fading to the dark slowly here. Dragoness Motor's gonna be like, huh? What? No, I don't remember. That's my dog, by the way, that's doing that, in case anybody cared to know. Her doggy toy.
Oh, she's still in the back?
Yeah, she's playing with toys. So, definitely let everybody know where they can find you. I know I've held you up a lot. Is it daytime where you at? I mean, Cali, or no?
No, so now it's 7. It's like 10 past 7. So
Okay.
it just got dark about an hour ago. That's why my lighting is changing, but yeah, it's still early enough. Like, I'm gonna be up for a few more hours. Gotta have dinner still, all that.
You and I both.
Yeah. Oh, it's late for you though. You haven't had dinner yet?
No. I just, like, when I came back home, my wife was like, "Oh, I get you a snack and some tea, and then just do the stream." And I was still doing all the clips and everything else. And it's like, "Oh, we'll just have dinner after." So that means we can't sleep for a couple of hours now because
I was gonna say, yeah, you have to knock it off.
Guys, by the way, thank you everybody that tuned in. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stream. It was a pleasure sitting down with Nicole. Super cool. And as even more you guys don't know about her, she's very smart. Okay. She's a very smart lady, which is even more awesome. So I'll leave that at that. And definitely, if you're new to this channel, you're going to subscribe to mine. And make sure you subscribe to Nicole's Dragoness Moto channel. Super cool. I think her channel is going to be really dope. And just her, just chilling with everyone. Really good vibes. And I don't know. There's very little I could say here. She already speaks for herself. You know what I mean? So, pretty cool. So, let them know where they can find you, Nicole.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube as Dragoness Moto, and then my Instagram handle is the same, but you just put a period in the middle, so dragoness.moto. And yeah, I'm not on TikTok or anything like that, so you can't find me there, unfortunately, but I'm on just YouTube and Instagram for now.
So, before we wrap up, any questions from me or anything you want to throw in at me before we go? I've been grilling you all night.
For you? Oh no, I've been enjoying your stories about your wheelies and your different bikes. Okay, let me think. Okay, so if you could choose just 2 bikes that you own that you could keep, which ones would you keep?
Ooh, oh my God, that's tough, man. Wow, that is tough. If I could choose any 2 bikes I could keep, Street Fighter is definitely gonna be on there, 100%.
Yeah.
That bike is freaking nasty. Dang, I think it would have to be a Supermoto, the second one. Yeah. I mean, I would say a super bike, but the thing is, I love super bike. The reason why I'm getting my super bike in the end is because comfort-wise, I don't want to spend like $35,000 for something I can only ride a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like when I have it, it's like I have a whole access to a bunch of other things. When I use it, I have fun with it, and I'm not thinking too much like, oh man, I'm tired riding this bike. I could just use it for the pleasure and then put it back and get another bike. That's why I didn't put that as a top bike. But I want something, the way I offset things, if I'm spending a certain amount of money on it, I want to be able, I could enjoy it just as much. Like if I spend, whether it's $5,000 or $3,000 or 10, 30, 40, whatever. You know, the first year of riding the Street Fighter, actually the first 3 months of riding the Street Fighter, I had already gotten my whole money's worth of, it was just that good. It was just that good.
I'm hearing about those. I've never ridden one, but I've heard they're amazing bikes and they do everything. They are
crazy. It's I did a video on mine and this guy was like, "Oh man, you riding your Street Fighter only 2 gears." I'm in the middle of the city. You want me to do 200 miles an hour in between cars? It's wild.
Right. You know how fast you go in second gear on those bikes?
Yeah, you could easily hit 100 mile on the second gear on the bike. It's like, what do you want me to just bang through the gears for no reason or whatever? But it's just coasting. Yeah. I love the fact that the rear cylinders turn off when you're at stop if you're not like cranking at the bike, so it's cooler. The counter rotating shaft in there, the bike dips in super easy. It basically guides. You're basically you're the passenger to the bike instead of the pilot almost. It's just if you want to wheelie the bike and you don't know how to wheelie, you could just go into the settings, say I wanted to go this high and it never goes back. It'll do it for you. Quick shifter, or it's just everything on this bike. The only thing it's missing is really just cruise control. If it had that, I think pretty much that's everything.
How do you find it on the freeway? Because something I have a lot of trouble with on my street triple is just the wind hitting me straight in the chest and the face on the freeway constantly. So do you have long freeway rides where you live? I don't know.
Yeah, there are some nice pulls. On the Hyper, it's definitely, you could feel it. The Monster, I don't know if it's the way they designed it, the seating position. I do have the windshield. It's just enough to pass over your head. It doesn't hit you in the chest. Okay. On the Street Fighter, though, I think it's less the wind. When you hit the throttle on a Street Fighter, you're basically getting impaled by the back thing. That's just that much force pushing you back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's more of you tuck in, you hit the throttle. If you're not already pushed back into the back support, it's just like pushing you through it, and it's just like you gotta hang on at this point. But I mean, I don't know as much as I do that anymore, really, to be honest. But I don't know. I think a supermoto would be fun just to be able to do dirt and stuff. And I'm probably saying that because I'm just doing the whole wheelie thing, and I think that's like the natural progression. And the Street Fighter is pretty much versatile and stuff. That's probably why.
Yeah, something I had an issue with my Triumph was just the freeway, because freeway riding around here is mandatory if you want to go anywhere that's like decent. So I'd be spending 40 to 60 minutes on a freeway just to get to a destination to then ride. And I would be so exhausted just getting there on my street triple because I would just be getting impaled by the wind constantly, and it wasn't powerful enough like the Street Fighter probably is to just kind of whip through the wind. So I would just constantly feel it. But with the S1000 RR, you know, you're in a more aerodynamic position, and it just kind of goes over my head, and I can get everywhere quicker, first of all, because it's much faster, and then also just more comfortably. So I was just wondering if you have any issues with the...
But that's like a double edge, though, right? I mean, some of the people that are saying, yes, you're protected from the wind, but then they, like some of at least my guy friends, you're protected from the wind, yes. But then in the end, it's like we get to a barbecue place, it's like, oh, my back's killing me. Oh, my like the crouch position. So it's like one has to give, really.
Oh, so. Yeah. Like I visit chiropractors regularly.
Really?
Yeah, not because just the bike, but I just have like my spine's out. But riding in that position doesn't help. It's just, it's the neck position. I think like back of your neck really gets the impact from it. But
that's what had me. I had the limited edition. I think the KLR. Is it KLR? KTR. Eve's bike. I had it for like when I went out to Nashville, so that was the bike that I was riding with, and I rode that all day. The bike is fast. It's awesome. By the end of it, the back of my, like, I know a lot of people say that either their wrist or their back or anything like, the back of my neck was just like so bad, like going like this.
Yeah, constantly.
It was painful, like all night, like for the whole thing. It was just, I couldn't do it. Like I wouldn't be able to enjoy that bike. I mean, for an all-day ride, initially we met up and everybody went to like a restaurant. Perfectly fine. That was like a 20-minute cruise, half an hour. And then we were going to like the race spot. And that was like an hour and a half. And I'm like, okay, are we there? Yeah, as we're going. And I think everyone's pacing, riding and stuff. And at some point, this is like the back was just like so bad to like just the upper part. I don't know, maybe it was my helmet. It should have been like more of a race. I don't know what it was, but my neck definitely was bothering me in that position.
Oh yeah, that's one of the main issues. And a lot of people I know who also have this bike don't have that issue as much. I think because their arms are longer, they're less like the neck isn't in that position as much as mine. I think because I'm smaller, I think my arms are shorter, so I have to like look up more than the average rider of those bikes. I think, but generally speaking, that of all of the like super bikes that I've sat on and ridden, that has been the most comfortable as like a commuter bike. Like I go cruise control, I can just, you know, you sit up and put your arm on your hip or on the tank or whatever, and that really helps. But that is the most comfortable bike that I've ridden on the freeway for that period of time. Like I've ridden like a ZX-10R, and that was one of the most uncomfortable bikes I've ever ridden. It was really fun, but I was like tucked in, my legs were like by my armpits, and my neck was just like like a whole like 90-degree angle. But that's why I like the S1000 RRs, because everyone knows they're very good like all-rounder bikes. So it's comfortable, but yes, I have that neck issue, definitely.
Well, the two most comfortable ones I think is going to be your bike and the Panigale. The V4, not the 1299.
Okay, okay.
Those are comfortable too. Both of those, they're not as squish. I did the Aprilia 1100 factory. Oh my God, that was everything. Everything was squished into your little ball. Yeah, your little ball. Basically, this was touching my knees, and you're like pivot down. Granted, the bike is beautiful and it sounds amazing. It's really fun to ride, but I'd say max half an hour a day.
Oh, yeah, probably won't last. Yeah, very long on that.
And if you're 6 foot, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some like larger guys on those bikes, and they just look enormous and really uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. That bike is. I think if you're like 5'8", 5'10" max, maybe anything any larger than that, it's a tough sell because it's everything touches your elbow to your knees touches, and then when you're there, your clip-ons, you're basically like this going down. Every single muscle is like being used just to kind of be on the bike, but it sounds amazing. I think all that goes away when you start riding it and hearing it, but when you get off, it's like, holy shit! I was self-torturing myself. So
I've never ridden one of those. I've wanted to ride that, and the actually the Aprilia 660 was another bike that I was really looking into, but obviously I didn't end up buying that. I just really like the way they ride. They're not as like common, so I like bikes that aren't as common. Although now I have a double R, which a lot of people have. So yeah, I like those a lot. They've had good reviews, and I like the 600 Ranger bikes as well, just for like track purposes or commuting and stuff like that. Because on a liter bike, you just, especially like a double R, you just want to like haul ass everywhere, and it's not something that you should be doing all the time. I just want to go.
Oh, here's the thing. Does your boyfriend is he a rider too or no?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does he ride? I might as well ask.
He has an S1000 double R, and he
that's how she got into it.
No. I got mine first, actually.
That's how he got into it.
It is. But he has an MT10 as well, a Yamaha. So he has the naked and super sport as well.
Oh, that MT10 is nice too, man. That sounds good.
That bike is crazy. Like I rode it once and I was like, oh my God, this has so much torque. Like the front end is like, you can wheelie that thing like no problem. Without wanting to.
I don't know, man. I like those naked bikes, man. I don't know.
I know. I really like them too, and that's why I was looking at the single R for a while, but I didn't like them as much. Like they weren't as comfortable of a ride, so I ended up with a double R. But I've been thinking about upgrading my street triple to like a hyper naked or like just a naked bike. But
that Brutale looks good on you.
Yeah. Oh, the Brutale.
Oh my God, that looks good. I'm not saying.
Oh yeah, they had
ask those guys let you ride that bike. I want to hear your thoughts on this, or at least a video that's gonna be so good.
Yeah, they have the Noob edition. I think it's like one of like 500, and that thing sounds crazy. Like it has a full titanium arrow exhaust, like stock on it. I think the horsepower is pushing like 220 or something crazy.
Wow,
it's wild. I think it has more horsepower than the double R stock, but I don't think it doesn't have the same top end speed, but it's just more torquey. Yeah, they have one of those. They have a bunch of other Brutales. They have the Super Veloce and the Augusta as well. Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh, Mr. Black Moses mentioned he's 6'1" on my V4S, no issues with ergonomics, comfortable. Yeah, that bike, the design of that bike is real. The BMW S1000 double R, and that bike, those are the most comfortable super bikes out there. I think you can ride for a long period of time without any issues, 100%.
Really? Huh. Yeah, I've never ridden a V4. So
V4 I've ridden pretty good. I had Ebe's S1000 double R for a day also. That was awesome, and that bike was super comfortable. Your bike is very confident inspiring.
Yeah.
That bike. It makes it feel easy.
It does, yeah.
The S1000.
Yeah. Especially after you crash it and it's in the garage, and then you have to ride your 675 around that has like stock suspension and brakes. Like you really realize how lucky you are to have a bike that does so much for you. Because I rode that street triple for 3 years, from learning how to ride on it to getting my double R, and I was good at it. I could ride the canyons. I rode the track. Like I rode everywhere just on that bike. But after I got my double R, I was getting so used to that. I just didn't ride my Triumph for like months. It was just on charge constantly because I wasn't really riding it. And then when I went back to it, like I would come up to a light and I would brake, and you just, you know, you feel a big difference in the braking, the suspension. Like I was hitting bumps in the road and felt like I was going to fly off, and just like you feel everything on those bikes, which I think in a way is good because you get to really,
it is good,
that rawness of the motorcycle, which in some ways the double R takes a lot of the like that raw feeling of riding a bike away, because it does so much for you and it's amazing, but it's like it's too good in some ways. I would never get rid of it because of that, but I think it does so much for you.
I mean, I feel the same way. I think you're definitely right. What happened is when you ride a bike, I think those bikes are very analog. Same thing with my Monster is very analog. I think your Triumph is very analog. Definitely. The beauty about those bikes, you really have to know how to ride to enjoy those bikes.
You do, yeah.
On a BMW, the S1000RR, V4S, or one of the more modern bikes, like I mentioned to you with the Street Fighter, you don't need to know how to wheelie. You could just program it to do it a certain level. It'll never loop out. You know, it makes everything easier to detect, you know, the way it knows what it's doing. It knows when you're leaning, what you're doing. But these other bikes, you really have, it's almost like a bike that doesn't have ABS, right? You will never crank the front brake. You'll flip over.
Yeah.
But exactly. It takes like precision of you understanding how much to apply, and you really have to know how to ride. And I think there is a large group of people that's either just starting how to ride, that are buying the very modern motorcycles that really, they can't really get on a older bike because they could probably hurt themselves, because they think it's gonna, you know, when they apply that front brake and the ABS kicks in, the computers are fixing it. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't know that. They think they're gonna do the same thing on an old bike. It's just gonna, you're just gonna flip over.
Right, so. Exactly. They don't teach you how to do that here when you learn how to ride. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Nicole, I've held you for as long as I could. It's been a super pleasure. I'm going to give you the floor so you can tell people where you can find you. I know I keep on saying that and I keep on asking you more stuff. That's it. I'm not going to ask, promise.
No, you go ahead. I mean, I'm not very nice. So. Any more questions, let me know.
Oh my God. Well, you know, if anything you want to throw on, you let me know. You tell me what you want me to talk about. I'll do it. So
I mean, that's my problem. I can talk about motorcycles for hours, days. Like so I'll cut it short too. Otherwise I'll be here forever. But
well, the door is always open. Whoever comes on, you know, the opportunity is still there to come and have a conversation, something new. Anyway, we can help to kind of help grow the channel and, you know, help things going. I'll do the best we can. Again, on the platform, we try to share at least as much of the information, content, or subs or whatever it may be. So it's always a good thing. All right, so I'm just gonna let people know where to find you.
All right, lovely.
Here you go. It's all you.
Oh wait, is my Instagram up? I'm trying to see my like. Oh yeah, so I'm on YouTube at Dragoness Moto, and then also my Instagram is dragoness.moto. And that was a really short summary because that's the only social media platforms that I have.
Yeah, that would be me too, guys. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys coming through for the conversation with Dragoness Moto. Again, I did drop that rant in the beginning over last stream, just to make sure that we're very clear on that, guys. I know I'm going to talk about it again. When people come on, cannot censor people. That's not what we do here. No matter what the conversation is going on or where it's going, that's not what we do. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has an opinion. They can say whatever they want or talk about it, whatever they want, as long as you're not being offensive or threatening to harm someone. I don't have any problems with that. So that's what it is. We're here. We have a good time. And if you guys can, I'd really appreciate if you do subscribe to Dragoness Moto. Nicole's awesome. And I think we're going to see a whole lot of her on YouTube, and she's going to blow up, and she's going to keep it classy like I'm seeing. And I think that's always dope. I can respect classy. Always respect classy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the track.
All right, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Nicole, have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Peace.
I really appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.